postseason in 2025.
Now, who will they face? Now, live from the studios of San Diego Sports 760, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour one, Jon and Jim, they are in. Ticket punched. Postseason starts a week from today, but
we'll talk to you on Tuesday next week.
Yeah, we'll talk to you Tuesday. Still, a lot of possibilities do remain as the Padres are putting some pressure here on the Chicago Cubs. Critical 5 games remaining in the regular season. We'll get into it all over the next 4 hours. Alan Sliwa, friend of the show, San Diegan, lifelong Padres fan, in the building last night, like a number of you were as well, will join us at 2:30 for his experiences yesterday, his thoughts on where the Padres are right now. Kyle Glaser, Friar Territory podcast, longtime friend of the show. Like, if you had a bracket of friends, like Alan versus Kyle, that's a tough, like, who moves on? Yeah, ooh. If Darnay's in that bracket and Andy's in that bracket, if it's a Final Four.
Yeah, we got Kevin in that bracket too.
I mean, what seed are these people? The point is,
Brinson,
friends, real
Cynthia
friends
Freeland
of the show are going to be with us today. And Alan Sliwa and Kyle Glaser. Padres are in. What an epic game last night. We knew they were in. This wasn't like the final day of the season and they had to win to get in. They were going either way. The way in which they won summarized the season for me. It's kind of gritty, a little bit unexpected, not easy. 2 bunt tries in extra innings, one of which works. They win 5-4. They come back from 3-1. Kind of like this little engine. Sometimes you count them out. They haven't played their best baseball, Jim, down the stretch, but they celebrate. They do it in style with a win, and they're heading to the postseason for the second straight year.
Yeah, last night's game, it felt like a playoff game. And
it really did.
And this could be a preview of what we see in a couple weeks. Padres, Brewers. There's a lot that has to happen before then, but still, nonetheless, could be a playoff preview.
Mm-hmm.
But last night in particular, you know, the ticket officially punched. We don't have to speculate anymore. We don't have to have any doomers in our chat every single day and on the text line and calling us in and be like, this team is not making the playoffs. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to talk about them not winning the division, or, you know, being the 5 seed, or hell, even dropping to a 6 seed, but even though I don't think that's possible,
it's not happening.
You could have been that, but as far as them not making the postseason, anybody that said that, you were just dooming very hard. And I do think, because last night we were hitting the copium very hard.
Yeah.
We were just, oh man, we were overdosing on copium. I do think today is a day that hitting the copium is still a good thing. You know, we'll worry about who their matchup is, and we'll obviously talk about that later in the show. Postseason rotation, which seems more clear now. The health of Fernando Tatis Jr., because now he's got like pneumonia and possibly COVID, which is not the best thing in the world. And
I don't think they said pneumonia. You said that last night too. They said flu.
Oh, they did?
There's a big difference.
There is a huge difference.
They said flu and COVID.
Pneumonia, okay. I don't know. Where did I read pneumonia?
I don't know. You've been saying it.
Sorry.
And maybe if it's accurate, if you've seen it, maybe it's accurate. But I read flu and COVID. Because like pneumonia could be like weeks, like for anyone. Where flu should not be.
Okay, yeah.
For a young
Sorry. Influenza and COVID.
Yeah, that's
I don't know why.
Better.
I'm an idiot. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, backtrack. Today is a day I think you should celebrate if you're a Padres fan. I know that it kind of felt last night that the celebration with the team and maybe even the fan base, it was a little tempered. It was a little watered down. There wasn't like oh my gosh, this team is going to the postseason. They're going to win the World Series. It was like, we're going to the postseason, but we'll see. Type of feel.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, to your point, part of me is like 100% last night. I was all for celebrating this team's accomplishments because yes, there's been highs and lows, but you should recognize what they've done. Today, I do think you need to move on a little bit and recognize that this game is important. For example,
it is important
because you are 8 hours away from being a game and a half out, or 8 hours away from this thing is over with your seed.
Yeah.
You get the wrong results today. Cubs win, Padres loss. Done. 5 seed. You get the right results today. Padres win, Cubs loss. You are firmly in the conversation for the 4 seed. There's another possibility. Cubs win and Padres win. You're still alive. But that's my point here. I do want to recognize what they've done, but this is not the day to be like, hey, we were up all night. Let's just go through the motions. I think they'll have their actual lineup today. I think they recognize it's still a possibility and chase it down until it's not possible.
And maybe that's why the celebration last night felt a little watered down.
Maybe.
Because they know that there's a chance to host a playoff series here at home in the wild card round. Maybe that's why.
I agree with that.
We were talking before the show. It kind of felt, because we watched the entire end of that, the game, the walk-off by Freddie Fermin, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And getting to the post-game celebration, it did kind of feel like everyone's getting in there and it's like, all right, we have to celebrate now. Let's celebrate.
Yeah, it wasn't like a team, and it's different out in baseball. It wasn't like a team that hasn't been somewhere in 25 years.
Yeah.
And was in last place last year, and it's the little engine that could.
Yeah, there are players in that clubhouse, though, that haven't made a postseason, like Gavin Sheets. I mean, Gavin Sheets, this is his first postseason in his career. Other players on that team, first time they made the postseason.
True, although it is more of a rarity now.
Yeah.
Like if you look at that roster, I'm sure 20 of them have been in.
But like guys like, I mean, Manny actually was pretty lit last night. Manny's probably the biggest partier of them all.
Right.
You might see an off day for Manny today.
I don't think Manny gets an off day.
Probably not. But guys like AJ Preller and executives, Eric Grupner, John Seidler, it didn't feel like a culmination of like, we finally did it, right? Because they made it for the second consecutive year and 4 times in 6 seasons, and it was a little watered down for sure, but maybe there's a reason for that.
Well, here's what I would say, because to your point, celebrate the fact that they've had a successful season, but what will we be saying a week from today or a week from tomorrow if they lose to the Cubs 2-0? You can say, hey, great successful season.
No.
Like your narrative and perspective on what is playing out here will change drastically. So like, yeah, it's been successful, but it hasn't been defined. Because if they lose in 2 or 3 games to Chicago Cubs, I don't think most Padres fans are gonna be like, hey, successful year. I think a lot of people will say, I expected more, especially at the trade deadline, especially with the 14-3 start, especially with the payroll, especially with the division in play for as long as it was. So I recognize it's been a good year. I'll take nothing away from it. Mike Schilt deserves credit. AJ Preller deserves credit. The team is in the postseason. But the expectations, we've said a lot. We're not to make it. It's to win once you're in. And now we'll know the answer so soon. I mean, a week from now, they're either moving on or they're heading to Cancun.
But I do think today, last night, punching their ticket, knowing this team is in the postseason once again, I think you should be optimistic as a Padres fan.
Right.
To be any other way, just why would you want to live like that? Like they're in the postseason. Anything can happen. Be excited.
I agree.
Last year, everyone was excited thinking that last year's team was going to win the World Series, and look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
It just came crashing down very quickly.
Yeah.
This year, who knows? Who knows?
I agree.
I think you should be excited as a Padres fan and ride the ride, because they could go on a run here that, no one expected. And you're going to be sitting there being like, oh, this team's not going to win anything. Are you really going to want to do that?
Well, why would you watch all year? Like if you're someone that's with us each and every day on Jon and Jim.
We see a lot of you out there that are.
I mean, but if you're with us every day, you're a baseball fan, right? You may root for the Padres, you might root for another team, but you understand that we talk a lot of baseball. Or if you're with us on the wrap-up show, I mean, you are watching these games. Why would you spend as much time as you've spent, 157 games in? Why would you spend all that time to just say, I know enough and I can predict what's going to happen and it's all going to be doom and gloom?
Right.
Because that doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm with you. There is a second season to it. And by the way, someone's going to make the World Series in the National League. And no team is truly favored to do that. Someone's going to make the World Series in the American League. And no one's necessarily favored to do that. You get the point. Like the doors are open. So listen, I like their chances. We had this conversation yesterday. I think you preferred the 2024 roster to the 2025 roster.
Yeah,
probably. I like the 2025 roster. I'm not saying more than 2024. I understand the Jason Adam injury, and they've been dealing with other things. I like this roster. They haven't gotten the starting pitching I thought they'd get. I think they have a good team. There's nothing that screams to me they're going to make the postseason and they're automatically overmatched. Mm-hmm. So I like this team. I like this roster, and we'll see what happens come next Tuesday.
Take a hit of hopium, be optimistic.
That's coming from us.
Yeah, from Jon and Jim.
Right.
Be optimistic. I know I will. Once next Tuesday comes around and wherever they're at, whether they're at home, which would be awesome, or they're on the road facing the Cubs. The only way I feel like to go into this is with hope. And we'll see how it plays out. Like, ride the roller coaster, because it's going to be either a very bumpy one or it's going to be a fun ride. And I get it. John, you always say, I don't want to ride a plane if you have a 98% chance of landing. But in this,
I'm okay with being along for the ride in sports.
Yeah, but in this case, just go through the ride, because if you are so pessimistic about their chances and don't think that they can win a World Series, maybe they don't. But who knows? Maybe they do. And that's the beauty of professional sports, is nobody knows what's going to happen, especially in a National League that feels kind of wide open. Are you scared of the Brewers if you face them in the postseason? Because after last night, after watching them and seeing, like, I am bring it on, man.
Well, you know who's scared of the Padres? The Brewers.
Exactly.
Who have lost 3 or 4 games to them. You know who's scared of everything is the Cubs.
Yeah.
Who have played poor down the stretch and might be wasting away a golden opportunity to host a playoff series.
Yep.
Playing the Mets and the Cardinals here. So you're right, because I'm going way back. It's like the old, like, why does Rice play Texas? Which you're not going to know the line, but the point is, it's sports. Anything can happen.
Rice could beat Texas.
The point is, like, Rice doesn't beat Texas, but you want to dream a little bit. Padres have never won a World Series. Does that mean it's never going to happen? Every other team in baseball never won a World Series at some point.
Yeah.
They all won their first.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Also, in March Madness, 16 can beat a 1.
It's happened now multiple times.
15 can beat a 2.
We're on hopium right now.
We are definitely on some hopium.
If they're down 1-0 in the first inning in Chicago next Tuesday, this thing's done.
It's over.
Hook, line, and sinker.
But if they go up 1-0, it's in the third inning in Chicago.
Series,
guess what? World Series, here we come.
We're going to hear from Mike Schilt, what he said to his team after they clinched last night. We'll hear from Schilt on the other side. How long will Fernando Tatis be out? He is not expected to be in the lineup tonight for San Diego. Plus, Alan Sliwa was in the building yesterday. He'll join us coming up at 2:30. Also at 4 p.m., Kyle Glazer, Friar Territory podcast, will be on the show. We've got you covered. Padres are dancing again. This is Jon Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. You can hear SDFC Midweek Live tomorrow night. Of course, they're playing this weekend at Snapdragon Stadium as well. We do remind you to download the all-new iHeartRadio app and search for San Diego Sports 760. Put us as your number one preset. All right, so Alan Sleewell will join us in 12 minutes, and Kyle Glazer will join us at 4 p.m.
Also, programming announcement. Tomorrow, the GM of SDFC, Tyler Heaps, will be joining us at 3:15.
Also, programming announcement. I like that. So Tyler Heaps at 3:15. Jesse Rogers from ESPN will join us tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Love
from
it.
Chicago.
Also, Kevin Acey will join us tomorrow as well.
What time's that game? 1:10, right?
Yeah, so he'll
join us post game.
He'll join us post game, and then, yeah, there we go.
There are your announcements.
There's your announcements.
We will have a busy week for you. We've got you covered. If you're a Padres fan, SDFC, Aztecs, we got you covered here. I'm Jon and Jim at San Diego Sports 760. Let's hear from Mike Shildt. This is in the celebratory clubhouse with his team for about 20 seconds post-game.
All I can say is I love you. I'm proud of you. This has been a tough road for this club. This has not been an easy road at all. It usually never is. But this has been a grinding son of a and you guys are some tough dogs. You guys are some bad dudes, and I love you and I respect the heck out of you. Tonight's indicative of it. If you fight like you did tonight, no one will beat us.
That is interesting to hear from Mike Shildt from the standpoint of he's admitting what we've all seen is that this has been a grind. This has been not the easiest of seasons. Last year, once we got to the second half run, everything felt very easy. Mm-hmm. This team was winning at such a high clip. They were never out of games. You were watching a team that was just steamrolling opponents up until the postseason when they faced the Dodgers. They choked. But this year's team, coming off of that heartbreak last year, and then the way they started this season, and then going into the 2.5 month kind of slump that they were in. Yeah, I get it. And, hearing that from Mike Shildt, he's absolutely right. This has not been the easiest of years. And maybe that's a part of why last night's celebration felt a little tempered. I don't know. It's interesting hearing him say that.
What's interesting to me, and I agree, it's interesting, and I'll tell you why. Because you wouldn't know it's been a hard year if you listen to him with the media.
True.
If you listen to him with the media, you've got baseball's best team this year, and he's got the full confidence and faith in them, no matter how they're playing. But we do know that the message conveyed to the media and in turn to the fan base is not the same as the one that's conveyed internally. And that is a perfect representation of it.
Yeah.
Because clearly what he was saying there is not something he says publicly every day with the media. But he has obviously said it with his team. And he brought up another good point, which is they do fight. Like they are in some weird spots. Last night's a perfect example. Mm-hmm. Bases loaded, 1 out, Bradley Rodriguez on the mound. In the top of the 11th inning, he's behind Jackson Churio, 2 balls, no strikes. He works back to induce a ground ball double play to get out of that. Earlier in the inning, Jake Cronenworth made a phenomenal diving play with the infield in to prevent the Brewers from likely scoring multiple runs in the inning. As in, they find ways, as they did once again yesterday. And if they're that team, yeah, they can beat teams like Milwaukee, which, by the way, has the best record still in the sport.
Yeah, that also at the end there kind of tells me, like, hey, guys, we need to be on our game more consistently.
Right.
Because when we are, we can beat anybody. And I do believe Mike Shildt when he says that. But the problem is, I haven't seen that a lot on the road this year.
Good point.
I've seen that a lot at home, but I haven't seen that consistently on the road this season, especially recently. They aren't a grindy team like they are at home on the road. They're just not. And for whatever reason, it feels like, and Mike Shildt alluded to this, maybe losing a lack of focus at the plate. He calls it adjustments, right? That to me tells me it's like they're not focusing enough, or they're not locking in their at bats, and it shows on the road. It shows, and they've done it at home as well. I'm not saying they're a perfect team at home, but they are a really good team at home. They are, and more often than not, when they do lock in like they did last night, they are very difficult to beat.
I mean, it's as simple as, if you're at home, you're going to love your chances. The Cubs at home are 46-29. 46-29, the Cubs at home. The Padres at home are 48-28.
That's why the home field advantage is so critically important.
Padres on the road, they're again 20 over at home, 5 under on the road. Cubs at home, 17 over. On the road, they're good. 42 and 39, but not nearly as good as they've been at Wrigley Field. I don't think it's as simple as that. Home field won't win the series. We're not going to say at the end of the series, man, Wrigley, they were done in by Wrigley. I don't think we would say that.
Well,
I mean,
wind
can blow
factor.
out, but I mean, that impacts both teams.
Yeah, true.
Obviously. But I do think the home field thing is an important part of it. And I'm telling you, the Cubs have to be feeling a little bit of pressure. 4 consecutive losses. Off day. Mets. Guess who's feeling pressure? The New York Mets. So both the Mets and the Cubs. By the way, they're squaring off this afternoon in Chicago, or it's tonight in Chicago, but later this afternoon here in San Diego. So we'll have an eye on that. We'll keep you updated on that game. And then you have to pay close attention, I would say, too, tonight with Randy Vasquez. Remember the last time Randy Vasquez was on the mound? No leash. We're going for it.
No comments.
Division's on the line. That may change. Where I think the lineup looks the same tonight, and I think Xander will be in it, presumably.
Yeah.
What I think may change is you might give Randy Vasquez another inning or two. Do you really want to go to your bullpen for 7 innings tonight? I don't think you do. I would trust Randy Vasquez, hopefully, for more than 2 1/3 innings tonight.
Well, just flies in the face of everything that Mike Schultz says about his team when he goes out there and he takes out Randy Vasquez in the 3rd inning.
Right.
Because you don't trust the guy. And all you do is preach how much you trust your players and how great your players are. And they're a bunch of winners and grit squad and gamers and whatever else Mike Schultz calls them, publicly during a post-game media scrum. Like, you got to go give this guy a little bit of a leash. Especially, I mean, we're not going to see Randy Vasquez in the postseason, most likely, unless something catastrophic happens to the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
But, giving Randy Vasquez an opportunity tonight, even if he's struggling a little bit, like, you got to do it, man. And because also, too, you used your top arms last night in stressful spots.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, except for Mason Miller. So Mason Miller is good to go. But, yeah, I mean, tonight, I agree. I think there's going to be the same lineup out there. Xander Bogaerts will return. We'll see what the corresponding move is. Will Wagner, probably.
Yeah.
He's still in this team. He's going to be probably sent down. And, yeah, tonight, you could put some real pressure on the Cubs if you win, and you'll know beforehand, most likely, if you have an opportunity to get a game closer to them. Because that home road record for the Padres, man, it kind of just stares you in the face about how good they are at home compared to how just like not good they are on the road.
I completely agree with that. Cubs, by the way, we mentioned Cubs and Mets. I'm just looking at this. This is an even, both teams are minus 110 tonight at Wrigley Field. Cubs and Mets at 4:40 this afternoon. Padres, to your point, will play 2 hours later. All right, Alan Sliwa, the Sliwa Show on YouTube. He was in Petco last night. He was there for that celebration. He'll join us on the other side. Can the Padres make a run? Alan Sliwa joins us coming up next at 4 p.m. Kyle Glazer, Friar Territory Podcast. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Park Whiz. Padres are in. They beat the Brewers last night in extra innings. Thanks to a Freddie Fermin walk-off single, Padres clinch a postseason berth for the second consecutive season, fourth time in the last 6 years. Now we wait to see who they will face come next Tuesday in the wild card round. There's still a chance they could host a playoff series at Petco Park, but they're going to need a lot of help to do that. Game 2 of their 3-game series with the Brewers tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. And good news, baseball fans, ABS is coming to baseball in 2026. Major League Baseball approved it to be implemented come next season. Parking shouldn't slow you down. ParkWiz gives every driver a shortcut. Book ahead, save up to 50%, and skip the hassle of circling the block. Park smarter, park faster, ParkWiz. Download ParkWiz app today and save every time you park.
All right, Jon and Jim. Now, typically, this would be the time when we say we're going to have a conversation with Alan Sliwa. We would have a conversation with Alan Sliwa. That's what happens. Like,
let me guess. Something isn't working.
It's well, that happens sometimes, right? Is this Alan being unavailable, or is this an internal thing? It's an internal thing. So we're working on our. All of a sudden, the phones. They're working on the phones. A phone is a critical piece of this equation. Because without a phone, you can't do a phone call. John fact. Okay? You don't.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Don't say anything. So can you text Alan, by the way, and let him know that unfortunately without a phone, we can't call his phone. So we'll work on that. Hopefully we can connect with Alan at some point in the next handful of minutes. So Alan was in the building yesterday. There were 40-something thousand people. I thought the atmosphere people were on pins and needles. You're in the 10th and 11th inning. And it wasn't to me like a pins and needles. It's game 4 against the Dodgers in the NLDS in 2022.
Everyone wanted to celebrate.
Exactly. Everyone was there with the same goal. That would have been such a gut punch. They go down in the 10th inning, for example, to use all those relievers in the manner in which they did
and not win,
and to chase that game the way they did. Not that they wouldn't have made the postseason. That would not have been my take today. But to use all those pitchers and not win. So thankfully, to their credit, and again, it goes back to the home road dynamic, man. At home, they're pesky. At home, they put themselves in a lot of one-run games that they win, and they did again last night.
Yeah, the feel of last night's game was of a postseason game. That's what last night's game felt like. We had a text chain going. And I mean, the game went on forever. It was a postseason feel. Even I felt it. It was like, you're on the edge of your seat and you want the Padres to pull out this game and clinch a postseason berth. And, last year they clinched with a triple play at Dodger Stadium. And then this year they clinched the walk-off. Like, those are pretty epic ways to clinch a postseason berth. And I'm glad that they didn't back their way in. I'm glad that they didn't find out like 10 minutes before the first pitch tonight that, oh, by the way, X team lost, so the Padres clinch a postseason berth. Right. And then they go out there and they say they lose tonight. And what are you going to do? Celebrate? Like, it was just a weird feeling if that were to happen.
Nobody likes backing in that manner in baseball's postseason. All right. Alan Sliwa is with us, and he was in the building last night. The Sliwa Show on YouTube, friend of the show, native San Diegan, diehard Padres fan. The Padres are heading to the postseason for the 4th time in 6 years after going just 5 times ever before 2020. Alan, describe the experience. What was last night like being at a clincher? And thanks for hopping on.
Appreciate you guys having me on. Yeah, first with the phone now, where I just started talking to myself. I'm like, you know what? I'll just do the call on my own. I was completely comfortable with that. Okay, so atmosphere inside the park yesterday. I think you guys actually kind of described it well. I think there was, listen, the vibe in the month of September has definitely it's been an interesting 25 days or so. So I think that can you just get some momentum going into the postseason? Down 3-1, Iglesias makes it 3-2. They tie it up 3 apiece. It just felt like they were going to win the game. And then there were plenty of moments you're like, yeah, this probably isn't going to happen. And, I've heard you guys talk about this before, where it's like the last thing you want to do is you got in because another team lost. Last night, winning the way they did just gives you some momentum. It wasn't the White Sox. It wasn't the Rockies. It was obviously the Brewers. Not that that's the complete difference, but I think there's a little bit of, I think there's a little bit of cautiousness. I think there's a little bit of, okay, hey, we knew we were going to get in. It was just going to be a matter of when. And to be honest with you, I don't mind that. I think there's been an expectation now that, this ownership group has, they've created this expectation with Padres baseball that you're expected to get into the postseason, and you don't need to celebrate like you won a World Series yesterday because you didn't. So I'm okay with what that celebration was, and I think people are definitely excited that they clinched it. But there's definitely there's more to be done. It's step one.
Yeah, it's an expectation around here now is to make the postseason and to go and win a World Series. And until they do that, people are going to be. I feel like the celebration last night is what we're going to see in the future when they continue to make postseason runs. Alan, where are you at on your optimistic meter? Say they do finish as the 5 seed. Say they do have to go to Chicago. Where would your optimism be heading into that series?
Well, I think you got to get in. And the fact that they're in, it gives them a shot, and that's all you can really ask for. And I think if you told me there's certain matchups that I just would dread seeing, that's just the reality of the situation. I think you tell me that you got the Chicago Cubs. Obviously, we'll see how things play out. Unfortunately, even if it wasn't for the division, just a little bit better baseball in September could have potentially landed them here at Petco Park. But it's not like the Cubs are tearing through all of baseball right now. I'm sure there's a lot of Cubby fans out there too that are a little bit nervous about a wild card series. And I don't think it should be a shocker if the Padres were to beat the Chicago Cubs, and I don't think it should be a shocker if the Cubs were to beat the Padres. So where am I? I think there's some optimism, and then there's also some cautiousness. I don't think that they play the type of baseball in September where you're walking in with your chest out, but we've seen this plenty of times in baseball. Just get in. It's not like they got the Phillies waiting for them or they got the Dodgers waiting for them. I think it's a very winnable series, and I think that gives me a little bit of a hope. And I know that the next 5 games still got to figure things out. But also playing the Brewers, I think, if you get past Chicago and you got Milwaukee, again, it might be a map that you want to see that maybe you didn't think was realistic a month ago.
Alan Slewa with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. You've spent such a good portion of your career covering basketball. Like, you just made a really interesting point. Like, in basketball, often there are some series you walk into where you have a 95% certainty of the winner of the series, right? There's some of these 1 versus 8s or 2 versus 7s, or just the way teams play in the postseason. You just feel like it's the right matchup. You can't do that in baseball, right? There's no way you go into a 3-game series and say, well, there's a 90% chance a team is going to win that series. So don't you feel like, to your point, you just made it, it's like there's way more of a variable when it comes to baseball than you're going to find in a sport like the NBA, for example.
100%. And we've seen it. I mean, baseball is a great example in the sense that we've seen teams that you're like, no question about it, that team's going to move on, and they don't. And we've seen it in basketball much more often where it's like, all right, LeBron in his prime, they're getting past the first round. They're getting to the semifinals of the Eastern Conference, whatever the case is, right? I think that's, obviously that's got a lot to do with it. And I think the other side of it is, listen, again, I'm going to go back to the matchup, and you guys have been talking about it. The Cubs have lost 4 in a row. They're not playing great baseball. The Padres, frankly, kind of in a similar position. It's not like we've watched them over the last month and feel great about the way they've played. But the reality is, Padres have talent. And at the trade deadline, they, fixed a lot of problems that they had. Now it's just up to the players. And if they can close out these final 5 games with just some momentum, no one's saying you got to go, 5-0, but just give yourself some momentum. And I know part of this is also going to be strategic, where you're lining up what the staff is going to look like, giving players proper rest and everything else. But it's not like basketball. And I think it's almost much closer to the NFL or much closer to March Madness. That's how I look at baseball playoffs.
All right, so getting to the postseason here, because now they're officially in, so we can, speculate and talk about things. How would you set up your postseason rotation in the wild card round?
I go Pavetta to start things off. And I know we listen to mentioned that yesterday. That's basically all but Pavetta. Yeah, I'm a little hesitant on the Michael King situation, and I would say this. I know I'm not giving the ball to Dylan Cease for one of those first 3 games. That doesn't mean you can't see Dylan Cease, but I'm just not giving him the ball to start a game. The question, I think, comes down to Darvish or King. And, we've seen some tremendous success from Darvish in the postseason. He's just very crafty, veteran experience. And this has nothing to do with Michael King. The problem with Michael King is just there isn't enough ramp-up time. And, even in the game against Chicago, where he was definitely better, it wasn't clean, did leave the bases loaded by the time he left, and obviously Morejon came in and did what he did. I lean towards Darvish in game 2. Listen, I don't, maybe that's not a popular vote, but I don't know how much we've seen of Michael King to say, hey, Padres are down 0-1 or they're up 1-0, give it to King and see what happens. I lean towards Darvish in 2, and then obviously if that's the case, then of course King gets it in game 3 with Cease available, and of course everybody else that's available from a bullpen perspective.
What if King goes out Friday night and goes 7 shutout? Does that change your thinking?
Honestly, yes. It would lean a little bit towards it. I think the thing for me is all I've seen so far from Michael King is nothing really that tells me here's game 2 of a playoff game. It's yours. And this is not even, this crazy compliment of what Darvish has done. I think I have more confidence in Darvish and what he's done in the past experience-wise in the postseason. He's had a lot more ramp-up than.
And the phone's got sniped. Done.
It was like, and here's the critical thing you need to know about this year's postseason. The one thing you'll only hear right now.
Yeah. And
we'll never talk about it again.
And I just got I just got a text message for the winning lottery numbers for $1 billion. They are and done.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll have that resolved for when Kyle Glazer will join us at 4 p.m. I texted Alan. If you ever wanted to work in radio, apply. All right. We're going to, again, get you ready for tonight because we may see Xander Bogaerts return tonight. Plus, Kyle Glazer will join us coming up at 4 p.m. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, our phones are back. But I think ship has sailed on a conversation with Alan. He understood because he's worked in radio. So listen, I've done 100,000 million YouTube shows with you.
Yes.
We've had 100,000 million issues.
On YouTube?
Yes, historically.
Yeah, it's true.
We spent a year where you didn't have internet in your home.
There's a problem, yeah.
I've done a million streams where I'm not like on my microphone. I'm using the audio from my computer and I don't realize it.
Yeah.
My internet goes out.
Here's the, again, actually, you know what?
There's no difference.
I'm not going to say anything.
There's no difference. We already know how you feel.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. So Kyle Glaser is going to join us in theory at 4 p.m. with more on the Padres Friar Territory podcast. The other news today in baseball you've mentioned in your updates is a massive story.
Oh, huge.
Especially if you watched last night. And the reason I say that
gosh.
is, and I said this on the wrap-up show last night. You weren't listening. I said, I bet the plate umpire missed 25 pitches in this game.
I heard you.
And then today, there was an audit of the umpire. He missed 25 pitches. He
was so bad.
There was a 3-0 pitch to a Brewer last night. Like, this was bad both ways. There was a 3-0 pitch to a Brewer last night that was a foot up. That was called a strike. This guy was as bad as I have seen in 2025, and that is saying something. But the reason why last night is going to like stand alone moving forward potentially is automatic balls and strikes. ABS is coming to Major League Baseball regular season and postseason in 2026 with a challenge system, and something like last night could be alleviated with the challenge system moving forward in 2026.
So Roberto Ortiz was the umpire last night behind the plate. His ump scorecard came out this morning. His called strike accuracy was 84%.
Oh my gosh.
League average is 88, which is still awful.
84%.
Yeah. His called ball accuracy was 95%. League average is 97. His accuracy overall was 92%.
I don't buy that.
His overall consistency was 90%. The most impactful missed calls last night. Top of the sixth, Pivetta to Frelick, 0 outs, bases empty, 3-2 count, balls called a strike. And they have it labeled here. Thing is 3 baseballs outside the zone.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom of the 10th. The lefty for the Brewers to Bryce Johnson. 2 outs, bases loaded, 1-0 count. Ball is called a strike, and it's like way down. And then top of the second inning, Pivetta to Ortiz. 1 out, bases loaded. Strike is called the ball, and it's like literally inside the zone,
like in the middle of the zone. He was awful, but that's not the point. Because I've seen awful plate umpiring for my entire life, and even more so in recent history with like 4K. The point is, there is now a world with 2 challenges per team where an umpire, in theory, could get 25 pitches wrong, and you could challenge all of them, and keep your challenges. Now, there's also a world where Manny Machado goes up there and challenges 2 pitches in 1 plate appearance, is wrong on both, and you're out for 8 innings. So it'll be an interesting strategic decision to see how teams use it. But you're talking about a scenario now where 6, 8, 10 pitches can be overturned in any one game, because if you use a challenge and you're right, you keep your challenge.
I really wish they implemented it for the start of the postseason this year.
I completely agree.
Because if we're going to see now, Roberto Ortiz is not going to be, behind the dish for any postseason games. He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be anywhere near a Major League Baseball field as far as, being an umpire goes. The guy was flat out like beyond pathetic last night, both ways.
But there's a lot of guys that aren't good.
But last night, it felt magnified because of the moment. And, they also are going to, have the, like when you see a baseball and it lights up, sometimes it's not accurate. Like they're going to make sure that everything is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's going to be hard to challenge a call. Like sometimes a ball is outside, but you see the replay of PitchCom or whatever it's called. And there's like the laces of the ball touches the black. And it's like, that's a strike, even though 98% of the baseball is outside the zone. It's going to be difficult at times.
They said, listen to this, in spring training this year, we're all like automatic balls and strikes. This is amazing. Challenges were only successful 52% of the time.
Wow.
So pitchers and catchers were only correct in challenging the umpire's ball strike call 52% of the time. I would have thought it'd be like 75%.
Right.
Because you just think You're like, dude, you have no idea. Like,
it's also spring training and guys aren't like as locked in.
And they were probably just challenging to challenge at times.
Yeah, I
see
guess
how the system works.
What do we got?
So what's going to happen next year is you get 2 challenges. Once you're out of challenges, if the game goes extras, they give you one more in the 10th. And then they make sure you have one in each additional extra inning. But you get 2 challenges. I think there'll be strategy with it. I don't think you want to be out of challenges in the first inning.
No.
I think you want to keep a challenge, especially for a late game situation. But I also think it's going to be very impactful. And I think on a game like last night, it could have determined a winner and a loser.
Yeah. I'm saving it for egregious calls in like the early part of the game. Like if a ball is up in the zone, like last night, where, I mean, it's like at your shoulders and the ump's calling a strike. All right. Hey, can we get a challenge on this? But if it's a close call early on, I agree. I think you should save those for later in the game because those could be way more crucial come 7th, 8th, 9th innings of a baseball game in the postseason.
I think Manny Machado, I'm dead serious when I say this. I think there's going to be like 2 players per team that get to do whatever the hell they want. I think if Manny Machado in his first plate appearance thinks a pitch is away that's called a strike, I think he'll challenge it. If it's Bryce Johnson and he thinks a pitch is away and it's called a strike, they tell him you're good. We're going to live for Manny's next plate appearance or Toddy's next plate appearance.
Right.
Because it's like 2 is not a big number.
Like if there's nobody on, 2 outs, we're in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Chill, Bryce.
Bryce Johnson's up there. It's a 1-2 count. Ball gets off the edge of the plate. It's a strike, but he calls for the ABS.
We're good.
Like, what do we do? We just lost it.
Yeah, so that's where I do think the strategy comes into play. Honestly, if I was Major League Baseball, I'd give teams 3 challenges. Like 2 is a small number.
Very small.
And if you want to save one, like you said, for let's say you want to have one in a 9th inning, in a 3-run game or less, you want to have one in the 9th inning. Yeah. That gives you 1 for the first 8 innings.
I would like in the 9th inning.
You get another one.
You get another one.
I like that.
And I would also like in extra innings as well.
Well, they do.
Oh, they're going to?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. That's great.
Every extra inning you get one.
Perfect.
And you keep them if you don't use them.
So they're taking the playbook of football.
Yeah, like you get a timeout in overtime.
You get a timeout in overtime. You get, extra challenge or whatnot.
It's exactly right.
So I get it from that standpoint, but
yeah, why are we waiting? What this postseason, guess what? There'll be a game determined on bad umpiring, right? So what are we waiting for? We saw it in spring training. They've used the minor leagues for a decade. I don't understand why it can't be implemented.
Probably because you need to, I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, this was unanimously, this was just, it wasn't this commissioner's discretion. I don't know what it was. Maybe there was a vote. I think there was a vote. And it was not unanimous, by the way. This was not a unanimous vote, according to ESPN.com, but it has passed. And this is never going, you can't put the genie back in the bottle with this. There's no way you could do this. They'd be like, you know what? Let's just go back to the umpires.
Do you know who Stephanie Epstein is or Epstein?
The writer?
Yeah, Stephanie Epstein.
Yeah.
So this showed up on my timeline today. And I thought this was a hilarious post by her because she wrote an article about this for Sports Illustrated back in February.
Okay.
About ABS. And she said this, MLB is introducing automated strike zone this spring, which means measuring hitters' heights, which is bad news for players who, like so many 5'11" men on dating apps, have been rounding up.
Interesting.
Some guys are going to get caught.
So, well, you're saying that they're going to use the height that they list or their actual height?
It looks like they're going to use their actual height.
Yeah, because in this article, it says like where the top of the zone is and where the bottom of the zone is. It's just based on your height.
So if you say you're 6'1", but you're really 5'11",
that's going to change your strike zone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to become, here's where we just went from the sport's very subjective. Is a ball and a strike not the most subjective thing in the history of the world? Like if you watched every pitch in the history of the sport, they've been all over the place, right?
Also, passer interference is pretty objective sometimes.
100%. But think about how many balls and strikes there are on a baseball game. There's been a zillion in the history of the sport, right? Yeah. Now we're going from something that was very subjective to something that's a very literally, I mean, just mathematical. It's based on like a box.
Yeah.
So it's changing.
It definitely is. And I think it's for the better.
Yeah, I would agree. And I do think it takes away a little bit of like the importance of a defensive catcher, by the way. and a guy that can frame. I mean, I think it'll definitely change the game in that regard.
Not you.
Bless you. All right, more on the Padres who are in the postseason. On the other side, we're waiting on a Padres lineup. We're waiting to hear from Mike Schilt prior to tonight's game between the Padres and the Brewers. Plus, coming up at 4 p.m., Kyle Glazer, formerly Baseball America, now at the Friar Territory podcast. He will join us coming up at 4 p.m. Hour 2, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app is next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Toyota of Poway in the heart of San Diego. The Padres ticket has been officially punched as they beat the Brewers last night in extra innings thanks to a walk-off single by Freddie Fermin. Padres are headed back to the postseason for the second consecutive season, fourth time in the last 6 years. Still to be determined where they will play and what seed they're going to be. But Padres are in game 2 of their 3-game series with the Brewers tonight at Petco Park's 6:40 first pitch. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres, and we just talked about it on the show. But next year in baseball, ABS will officially make its way to the big leagues as Major League Baseball will have ABS for all 32 teams. Toyota of Poway voted San Diego's #1 Toyota dealer by USA Today with APRs as low as 0% and new Toyotas in stock. There's no better time to buy during the Toyota of Poway sales event, only at Toyota of Poway or online at toyotaofpoway.com, right in the heart of San Diego.
Step 1, a spot in the postseason.
It's a walk-off! Johnson's coming from third! And with that, the San Diego Padres are headed back to the postseason in 2025!
Now, who will they face? Now, live from the studios of San Diego Sports 760, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. We will have Kyle Glazer, Friar Territory podcast, joining us at 4 p.m. He used to be with Baseball America. We're reacting to the Padres clinching a postseason spot. As, of course, they'll play the Brewers tonight coming up, as Jim just told you, at 6:40. There is some news here. We're waiting on a lineup, right? So we'll see about Xander. The news was reported by Kevin Acee today. Did you see this news?
What news are you referring to?
The Joe Musgrove news.
Oh, the Joe news. Anytime I see any Joe news, I just glaze over it.
Joe Musgrove, according to Kevin Acee, has resumed playing catch after some soreness in his surgically repaired elbow. Musgrove described the soreness as a normal part of the progression in his return. He continues to prepare on a schedule that could have him pitching in relief should the Padres advance to the NLDS.
Yeah, no.
NLDS.
Nope.
Those are 4 letters.
I know.
And they follow the wild card series. That would be days away. Days.
Yeah, no.
Not weeks.
Why is this even a story?
NLDS.
Why are we even talking about Joe Musgrove potentially returning? It doesn't make any sense.
Who needs Mason Miller back there if you have Musgrove for the 8th?
That's what I thought.
That's what I'm thinking.
Where are you going to put the guy?
Bullpen.
For who?
Padres.
No.
He's not going to be like on the Cubs.
No, I get that.
No, I see what you're saying. Well, do they not have? Okay.
Like, hey, sorry, let's not use Adrian Morahone.
No.
We'll use Joe Musgrove instead.
4 or 5 guys are safe, but could you argue Joe over Yuki?
Yeah, but
you're
pitching Yuki when you're trailing. You're not pitching Yuki in a high pressure situation.
Would you take another leverage reliever if David Morgan doesn't return from injury here this week?
Bradley Rodriguez is the reliever that I want on this postseason roster instead of Joe Musgrove.
Really?
100%.
100%.
100%. I don't want Joe anywhere near this postseason roster.
So you're saying, so it has nothing to do with Bradley Rodriguez. It has everything to do with Joe Musgrove.
No, it has a lot to do with Bradley Rodriguez and a lot to do. It's both of them. I mean, Joe hasn't pitched in over a year, and now he's going to make a return in the postseason out of the bullpen.
I mean,
I've seen Bradley Rodriguez go out there, and it was been a little dicey at times, but the guy's got some nasty stuff. And 101 with a crazy sinker plays in the postseason.
Well, I hear you, but it's 5 appearances in the major leagues. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm screaming like you have to have him, like he's a critical piece of my.
If you had to pick between Yuki Matsui and Bradley Rodriguez on your postseason roster,
but they're both on it right now. I don't know if they will be making that.
Whoever the final player is in that bullpen,
yeah, they're going to have Bradley Rodriguez in that scenario.
Okay, perfect. So then. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense because if there is an injury and you just decide, all right, we want to go to Joe, you can make a move to replace that person with Joe. But initially, if they make the NLDS, and they got to, by the way, make the NLDS first before that conversation even be had. Look, love Joe, but at sometimes you kind of have to get it, hey, calm it down.
What if it's the NLCS?
Nope.
What if it's the World Series?
Nope.
So you're just saying, hey, thanks, but no thanks.
He's more important to next year's team than this year's team. If that makes sense.
Yeah, of course it makes sense. I mean, even if he was pitching this postseason hypothetically, I mean, how many you're talking about an appearance
For
as opposed
why?
to as a starter in 2026.
Hey, we know that you haven't pitched all year long and you're coming off Tommy John surgery, but we want to put you in game 4 of the NLDS in the seventh
inning
in the
with a 2-1
seventh inning. Yeah, with a 2-1 lead. Are you kidding me?
It would be fascinating if it actually, and I'm not expecting it to happen either. All right, let's go to the phones here. 877-767-4760. 877-767-4760. Eric, you're back with us on Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in.
Man, thank you guys. Love what you guys do.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, just wanted to reflect on last night's victory, clinching victory by the Padres. I mean, it's almost like it was a culmination of how the season has gone, the ups and the downs and everything in between. I mean, having to go into the extra innings and then, almost losing it there and then coming back and then holding the Brewers. Yeah, it was such a relief for them to win and clinch. And I wanted to give a shout out to the faithful, all the fans, like the guys were saying last night in the locker room. And then mad props to Mike Schilt, the greatest manager in Padres history, the only manager to lead them to back-to-back playoff appearances. And hopefully we can extend them and keep them here for another 10, 15 years. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Eric.
But you've forgotten Bruce Bochy.
Yeah, you're wrong there. Bochy also led this team to back-to-back postseason appearances, which was the first time in the franchise. He also led them to a World Series, a National League pennant. That's slow down on the Mike Schilt best manager in Padres history. I'm not even close to that.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, things can change, but that's based on how they perform. You can't say that now that he's the best manager in the history of the franchise. If you want to say it in a month because they win the World Series, we can have that conversation. But they have a long way to go between now and winning a World Series. I think Mike Schilt, it's never all the way on the it's never the extremes. Is he a terrible manager that doesn't know what he's doing and can't speak with the media? Or is he the greatest manager and the Cardinals were wrong and second half Schilt and this guy's the best? He's somewhere in the middle. I think he's a good manager. I think he gets credit. Do I think he's the best manager? No, I don't think he's the best manager in the history of the Padres. Do I think he's the worst manager? No, I don't think he's the worst man. I think he's a good manager that needs to have, by the way, like a lot of these players will be under a microscope. He himself needs to make good decisions in the postseason beginning next Tuesday.
Yeah, it's about fit, I feel like, with the Padres, because AJ's had a difficult time getting a manager that fit with him, with his style and, his craziness and his just constant trying to tweak this team and staying up till God knows when in the middle of the night and calling people on like Thanksgiving afternoon when they're having dinner with their family, right? So he's kind of a crazy person, and it's taken him a while to find somebody that meshes well with his personality. And Mike Schilt's that guy. Mike Schilt has meshed well with AJ, and they found something good here. And I'm with you. I don't think Mike Schilt's the best manager in baseball, but there's also no denying that he is a good manager.
I agree.
To damn good manager. He's gotten his teams to the postseason more than he has not. And now we have a situation here where first 2 years as a Padres manager, he's helped lead them to back-to-back postseason appearances. Like, that's a pretty good accomplishment, especially with this franchise.
To be honest with you, and I agree with you, if Mike Schilt's the manager here next year, and he will be, I'd bet on him bringing the Padres against the postseason in 2026. In his career, his winning percentage is .560. That's really good. He's taken both the Cardinals and the Padres to multiple trips to the postseason. Now, one of the knocks on Mike Schilt, fair or unfair, is his lack of success in the postseason. Yeah. Whether it was against the Padres in 2020 with the Cardinals, a one-game wildcard series against the Dodgers. They haven't reached pinnacles under Mike Schilt, but he's gotten them there.
He's made an LCS.
Yes, and they were swept in 4 games.
Yep. And then last year, they choked in the division series. I put that more on the players than Mike, but still.
Well, but we put some of that on Mike.
Yeah, we did with games 1 and game 4.
8-12 is his postseason record as manager.
Not awful.
No, it's not horrific. He's won series, but he also hasn't reached a World Series. This was always the thing on Melvin.
Yeah.
Right. And he hasn't, I mean, you're going to have to get this team at some point to an NLCS. But right now, people aren't going to be complaining about back-to-back postseason trips just in general. No matter what happens, he's back in 2026.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, no matter what happens.
Yeah. Now the question is, so when is that AJ Preller extension coming?
I do agree with you on that.
Because he's got 1 year left on his deal, guys. And we've talked about this a lot.
Yep.
And now they've officially punched their ticket.
But Jim, it's based on what they do in the postseason. No, it's not. Not for a GM. Don't give me that.
No, the GM's job is to build a roster to get to a postseason and to, hopefully win a World Series. And once you get to the postseason, you're right. There's nothing that he could do.
Nothing.
Like last year's team, I feel like he built a World Series roster. This year's team, I feel like he's built a World Series roster. You just have guys that are performing and a couple injuries that are pretty crucial to this team's potential success. But all in all, I do feel like the last 2 seasons in particular, and hell, if you want to go back to 2022 as well, I mean, that team was pretty good, right? I feel like he's built these rosters that are good enough to win a World Series that the players just have not come through.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if I'm John Seidler, who was there yesterday and like shaking hands with players, the ones that knew who he was.
Who are you?
If I'm John Seidler, if it's not my first order of business, it's my first order of business. Season ends, I call AJ in and we talk about, his pickup basketball game, and then we get right to his contract extension. I don't know how he could possibly start a lame duck year. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense.
It will be interesting though when they extend him, because I feel like they're gonna extend him.
Okay,
it would be idiotic not to. What do you think the length is? Like,
so he's under control. You're saying through 2026 is what we believe.
Yep. And Schilt got a 2-year extension after last year. So
is that through 27?
Schilt's through 27.
I mean, it's funny because you like them to potentially be the same length, but I'd be tempted to give him multiple years.
I would too.
So I would extend them through 2028 this offseason.
I would give them both extensions to match them up.
So give Schilt another year. I like what you're saying here. Give Schilt another year. You've taken this team back to back, and give AJ another 2 years. And now they're both signed through 2028.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's fair. It's not crazy tie-ups. You're not tying yourself up so far into the future.
But it would be interesting if they only gave him like a 2-year extension instead of like a 5-year extension.
Right. From an executive perspective, you're saying?
Because, I mean, the guy's taken this, built a roster that's gone to the postseason for the last 6 years.
Which never has happened here.
Exactly. So when you want to give that guy maybe like a 5-year deal instead of a 2-year extension off 2026?
Well, why is it that off last year they closed 43-19, he didn't get an extension?
Good point.
Is it because of the ownership instability?
Probably because they were going through Eric Katsenda not being the point person after last season, and they wanted to get someone more permanent in place. And maybe that's the reason why. But I would
have that in place.
I would be shocked if, no matter what happens in the postseason, even if they lose and they're out in 2 games after the wild card round, I would be shocked if he does not get an extension.
Completely agree. All right. Are we expecting to see Xander Bogaerts tonight or not? We're waiting on a Padres lineup. We'll hear from Mike Schilt coming up as well. And at 4 p.m., Kyle Glazer, Friar Territory podcast, is on the show. We'll tell you about a giveaway we have coming up as well in the 4 o'clock hour. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, starting next Monday, September 29th, San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances, $200,000 every weekday. It's the Bonus Bucks giveaway. That's every hour, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. starting next Monday, September 29th. Listen for the keyword entered at sportssd.com starting next Monday, September 29th at 6 a.m. We need to get to Xander. We need to get to Toddy not being there for the celebration. But I want to ask you first, is this a $1,000 giveaway? What would you do right now with $1,000? Each, Brent, Jim, John. There's just $1,000. It's just given you. It's just handed there. Man, it's just on the desk. You have to take it. Got to spend it too.
Okay.
Can't save it.
Brent, what do you got? Did you thinking about
can't
it?
Save it.
Credit card.
Credit card?
Yeah, that's no fun, but that's fair. That's most people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're paying something off.
Probably credit card.
Yeah, it's probably the smart way to do it.
But
forget it. But if you had to spend it, if you couldn't put it to debt,
look, I would put like $800 towards my credit card and then the other 200 towards cards. I mean,
come on. That's what I was trying to get you to say.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you spend a few $100 on cards.
Or I do this. I go 500 to credit card. I go 200 to cards.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final 300 to take Aaron out to a nice dinner.
Wrong answer. Brent, I'll tell you why in a minute.
Wrong answer?
Yeah. It's going to dinner.
What? Go to Chicago?
Go to Chicago.
That's your answer?
I think it's a great way to spend $1,000. If it was handed to me right now, if you could get there, make it up. $400 flight, a couple $100 for hotel, couple $100 for tickets. You could do it for $1,000.
Okay.
I mean, that would be would that not be a good way to spend $1,000 right now? If you had to spend it?
We're getting text on our personal phones from our good buddy Mark Nimitz. I hope he's okay with me saying this.
Is he saying Chicago?
No, he says take it to Verona, 2 hands blackjack.
You could turn it into a lot more than $1,000.
You could. You could make that into like $10,000.
Brian, you could go to Chicago and root for the Cubs.
Yeah.
Or you could pay off debt.
But debt is probably
it's the best way to spend it.
Yeah,
probably
debt or I'd probably blow it on PlayStation stuff for my dog.
Yeah.
Vet bill stuff.
Because your dog's always playing PlayStation.
I just want to get.
She's getting really good at it.
I just want someone to give me like $1,000 and be like, you have to spend this on something cool. You can't spend it on something lame.
Yeah.
Like a Brewster's Millions situation, which you haven't seen because it's a movie. In that movie, Richard Pryor will get like $1 million, but in order to get, I think it's more than that, but in order to get it, he has to spend $1 million in like a week, and he can't spend it on like charities and stuff like that. So there's like a list of
kind of
it,
like that.
Yeah.
All right. So Xander's expected to return tonight. Fernando Tatis Jr. is not. So he was out yesterday and he was completely unavailable to the point that he was FaceTiming in to the celebration. I mean, imagine that for Tatis, Jim.
Yeah.
We talked about this yesterday and we knew something was up. Like, what do you mean Tatis isn't in the lineup on a day where the magic number is 1? I mean, there better be something seriously wrong. And by the way, there was a flu or COVID or whatever it is. It sounded like from Mike Schilt and AJ Preller postgame, he wasn't expected to return as soon as today. It might not even be tomorrow. So Toddy out as Bogaerts returns, and we wait now on the health of Fernando Tatis Jr.
It's a bummer because dude is hot.
Yes,
at the plate. He's hot at the plate. Mm-hmm. He's playing really good, and how is this going to affect him going into a postseason? Because my guess is a lot of IVs, a lot of medicine, right? Probably not eating a lot right now. So it's probably a little difficult. He might lose a couple pounds depending on how sick he is. Like if he had COVID and something else, like I could take you out for a little bit here. So I'm sure that he's under some really good care. He's getting everything that he needs to get by the doctors and the medical staff with the Padres, and they're doing the right things. But it is a little concerning if
he lost a little
if
weight,
he comes back this weekend and he's just kind of like tired, and I mean you got to ramp this thing up quickly.
Right. The worst case scenario, of course, not just for Tatis, but for his team, is if his team deals with what he's been dealing with. And we know that can happen.
Like, hey, don't be around us. We want to make sure we're all healthy.
And that's why I'd be cautious in bringing him back too soon. And I don't know what that looks like. How long are you contagious from flu? How long are you contagious from COVID? If it's either of these two things that's being reported as a possibility. If that's something that could take 3 to 5 or 7 days, well, 3, 5, 7 days, you're in the postseason. So my guess is they'll want to get him back by the weekend, where he can play against Arizona, get some timing back, and
Drink a lot of water, Toddy. Get a lot of IVs.
I mean, you have a celebration last night without one of the true stars of your team. No matter what you think of his season,
Manny did FaceTime him,
which is great. No, which is awesome. But like, that's kind of rare. I mean, imagine a celebration without Manny Machado.
Well, if it was out without Manny Machado last night, it would be a very tame post-game celebration because Manny was lit last night.
He was, yeah.
He was the tequila shot man.
Yes, he was. He looked like he was having a good time. By the way, he should be.
Yeah.
Playing every day like that.
Yep.
Taking no off days.
And for how long a baseball season is, you need to have moments where you kind of just like unwind and celebrate and not be so uptight all the time. Like if you're in a 2 for 15 or 2 for 20 slump, like just it's okay to just take your mind off of it because the baseball is such a grind. It is such a grind.
My wife, Kristen, would be like, "When are you coming home?" Like if I was like this like shortstop, like, hey, we're like, hey, are you gonna like imagine if you're just like, I gotta go home. Like, no, you basically required to be there. You're with that public celebration.
You're with those guys more than you are with your 100%. Families for 6 months of the year.
8 months.
8 months.
They're there in February. It ends potentially at some point in October. I mean, it is a brotherhood, obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it was cool. I'm with you. I thought it was slightly reserved compared to what we've seen in previous celebrations in recent years. And by the way, I don't think that's the worst thing. I think it means they have loftier goals. Like they think they have bigger things ahead. That goes back to the Mike Schultz sound we played from inside the clubhouse. He wasn't saying like, congratulations, you did it. He was saying, congratulations, do what you did tonight and you can do more special things.
While also acknowledging like, this has been a grind.
He did say that.
Because coming off of last year, everything in the second half was pretty smooth sailing up until it just crashed and burned in the postseason. And this year, it's been a bumpy road. That is for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to make consecutive postseason runs when you've really never done it as a franchise, albeit one time back in the early 2000s, where there's nobody in this organization remaining.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a grind to make back-to-back postseason appearances and to go through the 162 game schedule and then all your hopes going into a postseason. Like, they don't have hopes of just, oh, we made it. That's awesome. They have hopes of winning a World Series.
And you may say the postseason is watered down compared to 2005, but these two teams have won more games than the combined wins of 2005 and 2006.
Yeah.
Last year, 93 wins. This team can win 90 games. The 05-06 teams won 82 and 88 games, respectively. All right. We'll wait on this Padres lineup. We'll hear from Mike Schild. Kyle Glazer will join us coming up at 4 p.m. We'll get into last night in the NFL as well. The Ravens falling at home, and now Ravens Chiefs. The loser is going to be 1-3. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update's brought to you by ParkWiz. Padres are officially in. They beat the Brewers last night on a walk-off single by Freddie Fermin in extra innings. Padres are headed back to the postseason. Tonight, game 2 of their 3-game series with the Brewers. 6:40 first pitch. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Xander Bogaerts is officially back in the Padres lineup. Still waiting on the corresponding move there. And announced today, Major League Baseball will implement ABS come next season. Parking shouldn't slow you down. ParkWiz gives you every shortcut needed. Book ahead, save up to 50%, and skip the hassle of circling the block. Park smarter, park faster. ParkWiz. Download ParkWiz app today and save every time you park.
All right, 2 things. Well, Kyle Glazer at 4 p.m. Marty Caswell, the first to report. Xander Bogaerts says in the clubhouse he's officially back and in the lineup tonight, in the starting lineup tonight for the Padres. Others have since followed suit with that as well. So Xander Bogaerts is back after fracturing his foot. It's only been a few weeks, Jim. It's only been out, 3.5 weeks, and he'll be active for the final 5 games of the regular season.
Did he get hurt the 27th?
Maybe.
I think it was the 27th. So
What's
today's the 23rd.
All right. So he's been out for 26-ish days.
Almost a month.
Yeah. Less than 4 weeks on a fractured foot. Less.
And this is what he said would happen. This is the timetable.
Yeah.
This is what he said. And you got 5 games here remaining left in your season to ramp it up before the postseason. I think that's plenty.
I agree. That's the right amount for a position player.
Yeah.
It's enough.
Get your timing back here and get ready to go.
Here's the other thing. You mentioned this to me, and I'm like, no, you're wrong. And typically you are. And I'm always even more surprised
What did I do?
When you're right. You're like, go to Fangraphs. Why do the Mariners have a 21% chance of winning the World Series? 21.6.
It's very high.
It's so high.
Mariners.
Because there's 12 teams that are going to make the postseason. How could one team right now? There's no 116 win team. They have 87 wins. So how do the Mariners have a 21.6% chance of winning the World Series, which is 7% higher than the LA Dodgers, who won the World Series last year, for example? Well, guess what? They have a 21.6% chance of winning the World Series, according to Fangraphs' daily 20,000 projections. And that is by far the highest in the American League. The next highest is the Yankees. It's by far the highest in the major leagues. The next highest would be the LA Dodgers. So what is it about? I mean, they're on a second half surge, a little bit like the Padres had a year ago, but that wouldn't, to me, make them like a 1-4 favorite to win the World Series right now.
They're 9-1 in their last 10 games. They've won 4 in a row. They're 48-27 at home.
But the other teams have that same home record.
They have, they do.
Right.
They don't even have the best home record in baseball. They have a 3-game lead on Houston in the division.
Okay, so they're going to win the division.
Right now, they're sitting as the 2 seed.
Yeah. Have they locked it? Have they locked up the 2?
They have not, because the Tigers are 85-71, so they're 2 back of Seattle.
Okay.
Toronto will lock up either the 1 or the 2.
Okay.
Seattle's only 3 games back of Toronto.
Seattle's 3 back of Toronto. Okay.
So, I mean, that's kind of crazy. I didn't think about the Mariners as the highest odds to win the World Series according to Fangraphs.
And we've seen them multiple times this year. If you're a Padres fan, here's the thing:
they're a good team.
Do you believe here's going to be the point? And yes, they won the Vetter Cup, and everyone's been talking about that. But do you believe
it's a big reason why they're 21% odds?
The Mariners are 21.6. Do you think they're that much better than the San Diego Padres? Just in general, are the Mariners 5 times better than the Padres?
No,
because they have 5 times shorter odds.
No, I don't.
21.6 compared to the Padres' odds of winning the World Series, 4.1.
Is it because of where they're at in the standings and
the American League? But I would say the same thing about the National League.
Like, what if the Padres had the 2 seed and they had the division lead?
Would they be a 21% chance fit team?
My guess is Fangraphs just loves in the National League still the Dodgers and the Phillies. And
yeah, but if Fangraphs loves the Dodgers, then why would the Mariners have that much of a better chance to win the World Series, even comparing the Dodgers?
I have no idea.
That's the thing that's weird to me.
It's very weird.
Now, you brought up a good point. Mariners have played way better recently.
Yeah.
Than like way better.
It also goes up to matchups. So
Matchups
maybe,
matter.
and I don't have it in front of me. Maybe the Mariners, according to Fangraphs and how they've played these certain teams in the postseason this year in the American League, match up better and they play well against those teams. I don't know.
And maybe to your point with home field, if they're like a 2 seed, so you get the bye, well, that's an advantage. Then you're a home field advantage where you're 21 games over 500 in the ALDS. And then ALCS, actually, might not even be a home field.
Padres
might not have home field.
Padres didn't even have that good of odds last year to win the World Series, and they were favored by Vegas.
Dude, when they led the Dodgers 2-1, they probably had like a 20% chance of winning the World Series.
Because they're already in the postseason.
And they were already up 2-1
too, yeah.
And now the Mariners, that's a little suspect to me. But then again, we did see the best of the Seattle Mariners this year, from like the Padres did.
Yeah, Cal Raleigh, but even then, it's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that is really interesting. That is interesting. So
they do have a good team. Don't get me wrong. The Mariners have a good team. But I don't know where starting pitching wise, like, do they have enough starting pitching? Like Brian Woo's really good. Luis Castillo is really good. They have a good bullpen, right? With Munoz and
you also have to remember they're the Seattle Mariners.
They
don't fall out of bed in the World Series.
They have a worse history as a franchise than the Padres.
They've never been to a World Series.
And think about that. Padres as a franchise don't have the best history, and the Mariners have a worse history.
Give it to me.
Oh,
give me it all. Give it to me now.
Revenge from the Vetter Cup.
Yeah, but would you rather win the Vetter Cup or the World Series?
We can ask that question once we get there.
That'll be for the wrap.
It's a valid question. Yeah.
Up 3 games tonight in the World Series.
Yeah.
Would you rather them win tonight or go back and have won?
Does winning the World Series against the Mariners feel a little tainted because you didn't win the Vetter Cup as well? It's like when Ohio State won the national championship this
lost
past
to
year.
Michigan.
Right. Kind of the same feeling.
Dude, we're not living in a world where the Mariners could play the Padres. We're putting so many carts before so many horses.
Dude, can we just got to focus
on
Barry
Bloom.
Barry Bloom.
Right? Have you set your playoff rotation?
Who is your postseason or what's your postseason rotation gonna look like, Mike?
They did say Nick Pivetta in game 1 in all likelihood. Shocker.
Yeah, exactly.
They haven't said, by the way, before Alan Flewa got taken off the air by our phones because the phone stopped working, I texted him. I said, I'm a believer in, dude, I'm going to say this. I'm going to follow Alan's line of thinking. I would start Yu Darvish in game 2. I like Yu Darvish, man. He's been more successful in the postseason. He's had more experience in the postseason. He's pitched at Wrigley because he was a starter, obviously, for the Cubs. And all things being equal, he's been healthy in the second half of the year, and Michael King hasn't.
What if I told you Kevin today in his newsletter said the Padres are likely going to have this rotation in the bullpen? Or sorry, this rotation.
Well, I already know King is game 2.
Yeah, Pivetta, King, Darvish.
Well, I know that likely, but that doesn't change my opinion on what I would do.
I know. I'm just telling you.
I mean, has King shown you anything? Yes, he went 5 scoreless against the White Sox, 2 on, nobody out in the first, 2 on, nobody out in the second, bases loaded, nobody on in the 6th.
Again, that's why I think Friday's a big night for Michael King. If he goes out there and he goes 5, gives up 3, walks 2, and strikes out 4, gives up a couple more home runs,
right?
It's like not what you really wanted to see as we head into a postseason potentially on the road. But if he goes out against the Diamondbacks on Friday, and Diamondbacks are still playing for something, maybe if they'll still be playing for something at the time. If he goes out there and throws 7 shutout, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, 2 hits, I'd be like, okay, let's ride.
Okay, I agree with that. My theory, it's controversial, is I'm piggybacking King and Darvish on Friday. They both pitch on Friday. He who pitches better versus the D-backs has earned game 2.
That's why you're not the
GM.
manager or GM of this team.
Why? Because I just want to. I want to have flexibility. Because if I throw Darvish Saturday, now he can't pitch game 2.
There's no world where there would go into a game on Friday
and piggyback
and have freaking Yu Darvish come out of the bullpen. Like
turn the lights off.
Less than 0%.
Start playing music.
Less than 0%.
You can get the Suarez introduction in the 4th.
Less than 0%.
Wait on that.
Okay.
Wait to see Yu Darvish potentially pitch on Friday night. All right, we're going to continue this conversation. Plus, Kyle Glaser is going to join us coming up at 4 p.m. We'd love to hear from you, by the way. 877-767-4760. What kind of chances do you think the Padres have in the postseason? Is that 4 seed still a possibility? 877-767-4760 or text us 70470. Start it with the word team. That's 70470. Start it with the word team. Kyle Glaser joins us at 4. We'll tell you about a giveaway coming up as well. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again, and there is no better time than now to get down to your local Toyota dealer with new vehicles arriving daily, including their most popular cars, trucks, and SUVs. So whatever kind of vehicle you're looking for, hurry into your Toyota dealer today, or make sure to head to Toyota.com. If you're looking for a great deal on a new Toyota, there you can check out all the latest offers and search inventory. Finding the Toyota that's just right for you starts at Toyota.com. Toyota's Beyond Zero lineup of electrified vehicles helps to create a greener planet. Toyota's Beyond Zero lineup supports a greener planet with a wide range of electrified vehicles, including hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and fully electric vehicles. Or take each day further than you thought possible in a new Camry with its stylish looks that'll make an impression wherever you go. See your Toyota dealer today and discover what makes Camry legendary. There's no better time than now to get down to your local Toyota dealer. Get your local Toyota dealer today or Toyota.com. That's Toyota.com. Your Toyota dealers. We make it easy. All right, we are waiting for a Padres lineup. I'm just going to wait, and they're going to have one at some point.
Let's just sit here in silence and wait. Actually, we can't really do that on the radio. We can't do that.
We're waiting on a Padres lineup. Kyle Glaser is going to join us at 4 p.m.
Isn't that weird? Just like to a side real quick. Isn't that weird?
We have to talk
on radio. There can't be any silence.
Are you high? Yeah, the point of the medium. Okay, it only works. Basically, it's an audio format.
I know.
Right?
I'm just expressing, like when we have a YouTube show and we do YouTube, you're looking at me like I'm an idiot. When we do a YouTube show, we can sit there and just not say a word.
Yeah, it's also not good YouTube.
No, but we can say it. We're not getting in trouble for it.
You don't have to talk here. I've always said one of the keys, in my opinion, to good radio is you don't have to like, it's not like I talk, you talk, I talk. Like you can breathe, and we do. How long are you willing to go? Now, I think to take you behind the scenes or curtains, right, Brent? What is it? A 10-second timer on it? Or is it 15?
No, it's 5 or 10.
It's not 5. I'll test 5.
It'll be 10 then.
10.
There will be a alarm in the back if we don't talk.
When I called when I called Aztec baseball,
that's what I was gonna say.
Because I'm very willing to like test the theory of talking on radio and let like the crowd like speak. Like if you listen to the Padres, if you listen to the Aztecs,
yeah,
it's not dead air if you have a crowd in the background.
There's no dead air with you guys on football because it goes pretty quickly.
Well, because we're talking.
Yeah.
But when I was doing Aztec baseball and I would do some games solo,
I breathe.
The alarm would go off because I wouldn't talk for 10 seconds.
It would go off all the time.
Because you know who's one of the best at letting things breathe?
Who?
Dan Patrick.
Yeah, he doesn't talk.
No,
he's confident.
I know. I'm just saying, like, letting things breathe and just like not feeling like he needs to fill every single second with
100%.
with someone talking. He lets it breathe. So I'm wondering, like in the mornings here,
does the alarm go
Does
off?
the alarm go off with Dan Patrick?
I would guess because it's syndicated, Brian. Is it already like programmed in to not do
Probably already programmed in.
No, I think it's universal because otherwise, how would they know if Dan Patrick, went off the air or something? Yeah.
Well, I would say this. What I really like about Dan Patrick is when he interviews someone, his questions are 4 words. Be like, "Hey, Charles Barkley's back with us. Chuck, how was your summer? What do you think of the Halliburton injury?" He'll let the guest do all the talking. And when he follows up, it's like a one. Oh, you think that?
Why is that?
Yeah, because what happens when he does that is he's basically putting on the guest. Like the guest ends up like doing a lot of the lifting.
He's one of the best. He's one of the best.
He's one of the best. And you can hear him each and every day right here on San Diego Sports 760. Okay, this is what I was going to say. So last night, I think a bit of a surprise. Ravens favored at home. They lose to the Lions. So
a good game.
Very good game that gets away from Baltimore late. Now you have a scenario in the AFC where the Ravens and Chiefs are going to meet. And John fact, one of them will lose. There could be a tie, but one of them is going to lose. Which means one of these teams is 1-3, a quarter of the way through the season. How much panic is there for the loser of Chiefs Ravens this weekend?
I think a lot of panic. I think a lot. Because both these teams have some lofty goals, which is winning a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Where's this game at? Is this in Kansas City? I think this is. I think
it's in Kansas City.
It's in Kansas City.
Ravens schedule. It is in Kansas City.
Okay.
Sunday at 1:25.
All right.
Our time. So 4:25.
Yeah. Whoever loses that game, I do think there is a little bit of panic. I do think the Ravens, if they lose, have a better chance to get out of their slump and have a better chance to make a run than the Chiefs, because the Ravens have way more firepower. Now, their defense is actually an issue. There's no doubt about it. Their defense is an issue. The way
so many points.
The way they lost the opener in Buffalo, the way they lost last night, at home, Lions team outside of a dome, they put up 38 points and their offense looked like that.
Yeah.
By the way, my boy,
Dave Montgomery,
bro.
Big moments in that game late.
Over 150 yards rushing, couple touchdowns. Love to see it from a fantasy football perspective. I did. I said, hey, man, I was cussing you out during one of our commercial breaks in San Diego. Thank you.
Did you tell him what Schilt told the team? Like, I believe in you.
I always believed in you.
You could beat anyone, David.
Come on, David. You're my boy. Yeah, I think it's more important for the Ravens.
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs than the Ravens.
Here's the thing with the Chiefs. Their schedule, as you'd expect, is not going to be easy.
It's not.
Even after this,
first place schedule.
That's the thing. They go to Jacksonville, then home to the Lions. So if you're 1-3, those aren't layups. No. I wouldn't say. Go to Jacksonville, home to the Lions.
Another game against the Chargers. A couple games with the Broncos.
Bills in Buffalo coming up. Just looking at what else is.
They just lost to the Eagles at home.
Yeah, I mean they'll likely both navigate it. What I mean by that is there a very high likelihood that both of those teams are in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yes. So they'll likely both navigate it. But I'll say this: one of those teams has a very good chance of being like a 6 or 7 seed.
I could see the Chiefs as a team that's like 10-7.
Right.
And they make it at 10-7. Ravens, I could see getting to 11 wins or
Getting hot at some point,
Yeah.
winning 4 straight.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I just feel like they have a better roster. Now, defensively, Chiefs are better defensively, but offensively, Ravens can put up some points, and I think they're gonna, get on a maybe a little bit of a roll, and their defense might, be better for a stretch or so, and that's going to really help them. Chiefs, though, offensively, they do kind of. I would be nervous if I was a Chiefs fan because offensively, they don't have like a sustainability factor of like, hey, don't worry, we'll get on a run here quickly. It's like, no, you guys barely score 20 points a game.
Right. That's true. Like their margin, like the baseball analogy, is like Padres don't score a ton, so you're trying to win.
Yeah.
Like even in extras, you're trying to win 4-3.
Yeah.
Where the Chiefs, same thing. I mean, they're not trying to beat you 31-17. They're trying to beat you like 20-13 right now.
Yeah. On the flip side, what the Lions were able to do last night against the Ravens, did that change your opinion on the Lions in the NFC?
So they're 2-1 right now.
Yep. They got boat raced in the opener in Lambeau or in Green Bay at Lambeau.
Right. So both those teams are 2-1. Well, here's my question.
And they put up 50 against the Bears and then 38, and they went on the road last night against the Ravens. Those are impressive wins.
So are we putting maybe too much in the head-to-head? Like, are the Lions actually a better team than the Packers, even though they lost to them? Do the Lions have a better prospect and chance this year in the NFC than the Packers?
I do like the Lions roster a lot.
Who's the second best team in the NFC? If we're all going to say that Philadelphia, who won the Super Bowl, is the best.
It's a very good question. I can't say Tampa Bay because they have a bunch of injuries.
Okay.
I can't say the Niners because they have a bunch of injuries.
You going to say Detroit?
I might put Detroit up there. Honestly, with the way the Lions have played the last 2 weeks and with that impressive win last night on the road in Baltimore, which is a very tough place to play.
Yes.
And going up against Lamar Jackson, who, we talked to Will Brinson yesterday, dude is basically unbeatable on Monday Night Football. He is incredible.
He had been incredible.
Now, he was actually really good last night.
Yep.
He threw 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Right, it's not like they were shut out.
No, but there were a couple times in the goal line last night that they didn't come through.
Right.
And that could have changed the course of the game. I think I'd put the Lions as the second best team in the NFC right now, behind the Eagles.
I think you could make that argument. Now, again, people might say you're crazy. The Packers beat them head-to-head. But you can't, head-to-head is not the only factor in the NFL.
No.
Like, that's not the end-all, be-all over a 17-game regular season. And trend lines. Like, Lions have played really well the last 2 weeks, and the Packers just stumbled against Cleveland.
Yeah. Now, Detroit was helped out by scoring 50-plus points against the Bears, but they do have the most points scored in the NFL.
Through 3 weeks.
Yeah, they're tied with the Colts with 103 points. No, sorry, actually, Baltimore scored the most points. My bad. So they're second in the NFL in points.
So those are the 2 top scoring teams in the NFL.
Yeah, and no surprise, last night was a high scoring game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a really good game, by the way.
Great game. And it lived up to some of that hype. I think a lot of people thought Baltimore would just win because they were at home.
Yeah.
But credit to Detroit, now 2-1 on the year. By the way, sneaky decent Thursday game. Seattle, Arizona. A couple of 2-1 teams in the NFC West in 2 days to kick off week 4.
I think Seattle's better than
Arizona.
I also think Seattle's sneakily. They could sneak. They could be a sneaky team.
There's a lot of sneaky
in the NFC. I really do. I think Seattle, if they stay healthy, they're good.
All right, Kyle Glazer on the other side. Xander Bogaerts has officially been activated by the Padres.
Hallelujah.
And they have optioned Will Wagner. So if you had your Wagner jersey,
return it now.
Save it for 2026. But Xander Bogaerts back from the 10-day IL. Will Wagner has been optioned to the Arizona Complex League, whatever that means. And Kyle Glazer will join us on the other side. Full reaction to the Padres clinching a playoff spot and what his expectations are for the Padres come this fall and this October. Kyle Glazer, Friar Territory podcast on the other side. We'll tell you about our giveaway in the 4:00 hour coming up as well. Actually, I'll tell you right now, we've got a pair of tickets to give away to see UB40 at the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater on October 4th. Kyle Glazer joins us next. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by ParkWiz. Padres are officially in the postseason. They punched their ticket last night on a walk-off single by Freddie Fermin, beating the Brewers in extra innings. Game 2 of their 3-game series against the Brewers tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Padres just tweeted out moments ago that they have reinstated Xander Bogaerts from the IL. Will Wagner has been sent down to the minors for the corresponding move, and the lineup is out. We'll give you the lineup here coming up in a bit. And next year, ABS will be coming to baseball. Officially, Baseball Today announced that ABS will be coming to baseball in 2026. Parking shouldn't slow you down. ParkWiz gives every driver a shortcut. Book ahead, save up to 50%, and skip the hassle of circling the block. Park smarter, park faster, ParkWiz. Download the ParkWiz app today and save every time you park.
Step 1, a spot in the postseason.
Jermaine lines it into left center. It's a walk-off. Johnson's coming from third. And with that, the San Diego Padres are headed back to the postseason in 2025.
Now, who will they face? Now, live from the studios of San Diego Sports 760, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3, and I'm glad that we're connected right now with Kyle Glazer, Friar Territory podcast, great resource for Padres fans. It's perfect timing, Kyle, because we're just seeing the starting lineup. I mean, it just came out. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but the reason I wanted to start there is I was wrong. I expected the Padres to go with their full complement from a lineup perspective because I thought they still had at least a shot here with the Cubs to maybe flip the wild card standings with Chicago based on the way the Cubs are playing. But I'm looking at this lineup, for example. Machado's out. Who else is out, Jim?
Merrill's out.
So Machado and Merrill are out.
And no Tatis.
And Tatis is out because of health. So it doesn't mean they can't win the game. But does that surprise you at all? I know they clinched last night, but they've put a little bit of pressure here on Chicago. Does this surprise you at all that they wouldn't have their full complement in the lineup?
Oh, no Cronenworth either.
And no Cronenworth.
Yeah, it definitely surprises me seeing all of Machado and Merrill and Cronenworth all out, just because for the reasons you stated. The Padres still have a chance to catch the Cubs for the top wild card spot. Mathematically, they're still in the division title race as well, but we know how important it is for this Padres team to be home in any series they play. And given the fact that if they're the 4th seed, they'd be home for the wild card round versus they'd go on the road as the 5 seed. I'm a little surprised to see all 3 of those guys out in the same day and this lineup being what they're putting out there. I understand if you want to give one guy, a day off each of the next couple of days, that's fine. But I am surprised that this is the lineup they're running out there, given they still have a lot to play for.
Yeah, lots to play for. And we'll see. Kind of does feel like they've punted here on the 4 seed and they're trying to line everything up for the postseason. So, now that they are officially in the postseason, Kyle, and they'll be in that 4-5 matchup, most likely going to Chicago. For you, what is your, optimism for this Padres team come postseason time, albeit they're nothing bad happens to them in the final 5 days?
Yeah, I think if you're looking for reason for optimism, it's that all of Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and Jackson Merrill are hitting at the same time, and you can loop Jake Cronenworth in there too. We've seen throughout this season, whether due to injuries, slumps, any number of things, the Padres very rarely have had their best hitters all going well at the same time. And they've all been, hitting the ball for the most part pretty well. In the case of, Merrill and Tatis, it's been pretty much all of September. For Machado, it's been the last half of September. So that's the reason for optimism is we're starting to see their best offensive performers swing the bats at the same time. And look, we all know, Luis Arias as well is having a great month. So a lot of their key guys are hitting, and that's something they haven't had a lot of this year.
Kyle Glazer is with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. It appears as if they're lining things up for Michael King to pitch in game 2 of a postseason series. Regardless of that, who would you go with? If you could just snap your fingers, obviously Nick Pivetta would get the ball in game 1. Where would you turn in game 2 and or 3 and why?
To me, it was going to come down to which of Michael King, Dylan Cease, and Yu Darvish looks best. All 3 this in their final starts. All 3 of them, we know what they're capable of at their best, but none of them have consistently been at their best this season. King was before his injuries. Since he's come back, it's been very hit or miss. I understand going Michael King in the 2 spot just because at the end of the day, out of him, Cease, and Darvish, he probably is the guy you trust the most. And then again, game 3, at this point, Cease is pitching better than Darvish, so he would get the nod. But I do think a lot of it should have depended on how they look in this last start, because none of the three of them have been super convincing here over these last few weeks.
I feel like going into this postseason, it's a big postseason for Manny. He struggled in the postseason in his career. Last year against the Dodgers, he did not have a good series. He has not played well in the postseason historically, over his career. So going into this postseason here, Kyle, how much are you going to put on Manny's shoulders here, and how much pressure do you think he's under to, actually perform here?
Look, for the Padres to achieve their stated goals of getting to a World Series and winning a World Series, they are going to need the best version of Manny Machado. At the same time, I wouldn't say that he is going to make or break all of the Padres' postseason success. Realistically, they're starting pitching and how those guys we talked about, Michael King, Dylan Cease, and Yu Darvish, pitch in the postseason. That's going to have a bigger impact than anything Manny Machado does, just because, look, even when Machado's going well, as he was for most of the season, we know this is a 3-run per game kind of offense, and we know they have a great bullpen. The variable is their starting pitching. So I think that's going to have a bigger impact overall on how far they go. But look, there's no question having the best version of Manny Machado is absolutely something this offense needs.
Kyle Glaser, Friar Territory Podcast, with us right now on Jon and Jim. Regardless of how this ends, whether it's in the wild card round or with them hoisting a trophy for the first time in franchise history, would you envision an A.J. Preller extension regardless, now that they're back in the postseason?
I would. Obviously he has been very, very aggressive throughout his tenure. There have been some moves that have worked out really well, some moves that have not worked out well. There's a lot of pros and cons, but at the end of the day, the Padres have reached the postseason 4 times in 6 seasons during this last part of his tenure. That's something this franchise has never done in its history. And ultimately, I think, punting on the guy who, at the end of the day, is responsible for having built these playoff caliber teams probably would not be the right move.
This team does have, flaws. They're not a perfect team. No team is a perfect team in the National League or the American League. The Padres offense this year has struggled. Their starting rotation, as you mentioned, struggled. Their bullpen, though, is a strength of this team. The loss of Jason Adam does hurt. But how much would you expect or hope Mike Shildt relies on his bullpen in the postseason? What would you say there?
You certainly want to see him not be afraid to roll these guys out there against the best hitters in baseball in big moments, and he's not going to be. That said, you have to be careful not to be over-reliant. If you have a starting pitcher who's looking great through 5 innings, you don't want to pull the trigger too quickly and just bring a reliever in for the sake of, our bullpen is great. You need to let your starters go and give you everything they have so you don't burn this bullpen out too early. So really the concern is not, lack of use of the bullpen. The concern would be overuse. The starters also need to make the decision for Mike Shildt easier by actually pitching well.
That's a good point. Kyle Glaser with us right now on Jon and Jim. If it is Padres Cubs, regardless of location, Wrigley or Petco, we know the Cubs have lost 4 straight. We know it has not been a perfect second half for San Diego. How do you see that matchup in terms of how do the teams stack up against each other come a week from now?
Yeah, look, the Cubs starting pitching is okay. It's not great, and their bullpen is a question mark. So you have that aspect of them to question mark, where the Padres offense, as we've talked about, is not a juggernaut. On the flip side, the Padres pitching is a strength. The Cubs offense has been their strength all year, but Kyle Tucker is hurt. We don't know his status. A lot of key guys, Pete Crow Armstrong, Michael Busch, Seiya Suzuki, have struggled the entire second half. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I do really think it's going to come down to who has home field. We've seen it all year. This Padres team at Petco Park is a completely different team than the one that plays away from Petco Park in terms of the energy, the intensity, and the aggressiveness. That's why I really think it's critical for the Padres to give everything they have to get the 4 seed, because I really do think if they're at home for this series against the Cubs, they win. If they go on the road, I think they lose.
And it looks like, they're probably going on the road unless they continue to win. And it seems like they've punted here and they've prioritized the health over the 5 or the 4 seed. So looking at the landscape of just the National League here, Kyle, I think you were on with us maybe a couple weeks ago. And did you say that the Phillies in your mind was the best team? And if you did, do you still feel that way going into the postseason?
Yeah, I did say that at the time, and I still do think that this would be my World Series pick. At the same time, look, losing Zach Wheeler is a huge, huge blow. We have to see Trey Turner, what he looks like when he comes back off the IL. But I do, when I look at just top to bottom, what all these teams have, their rotation, who's got the back of their bullpen, the lineup 1-9, even some of the best bench guys, and also the managers who have been there before, who have done it. The Phillies just really stand out to me as the team I would pick to win it all and obviously that means they advance out of the NL. The AL, I go back and forth depending on the day between the Mariners and the Blue Jays, but I really do expect us to see a Phillies, versus either Toronto or Seattle World Series.
Kyle, one more for me about automatic balls and strikes coming to the majors in 2026. Yes. I saw something on the bottom line that surprised me. It just showed that in AAA this year, the amount of successful challenges is exactly 50%. And that surprised me. I thought it would be higher than that. What impact does it have? And what's your thought on ABS coming to Major League Baseball?
Yeah, I saw the ABS in action a lot during my time at Baseball America and the minors, the fall leagues, spring training. It's going to be a net positive for the game. You're going to have situations where, if a call is wrong, a team has an opportunity to challenge it and not have that wrong call affect the entire outcome of the game. We see so many times late in games, big situations, a blown strike call or a blown ball call, that can be the difference between a win or a loss. I think eliminating that, making sure they get the call right, especially in the biggest moments, in the biggest games, that's just going to be better for the game all around.
Coming in 2026 to Major League Baseball. Kyle, always appreciate your perspective. Hope all is well. We'll catch up with you hopefully in the postseason, and thanks for doing it.
Thanks, Kyle.
My pleasure. Anytime, guys.
Great stuff from Kyle Glaser, Friar Territory Podcast on YouTube. So we haven't reacted to it. I'm surprised. I understand the importance of health. So let's be clear. This is not an easy question, truthfully. I thought they would chase it down because you've come so far not to just come this far. 5 games remaining. I'm playing out the string in terms of trying to chase down the 4 seed, but you got a veteran group. Guys like Manny Machado have played a lot of baseball. So Jake Cronenworth is not a young player. So I understand giving guys a blow. Your bullpen is taxed right now. So I get it, but it is a decision. And the decision they've made is to lean towards rest as opposed to necessarily winning this game here tonight. They might win this game, by the way. They're at home. They're facing a guy that hasn't pitched in 2 years. But it surprises me a little bit when I see a lineup without guys like Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado in it.
Yeah. Now, when you look here, you got the Reds right now trailing the Pirates 4-2. Ellie De La Cruz just hit a 500-foot home run.
Literally or no?
No, it looked like it was 500 feet.
Okay.
Mets Cubs first pitch there 440.
Yep. Right. You're saying you don't know. It's not like the Cubs have already won. They didn't play 10 a.m.
Yeah, you don't know yet. So from that standpoint, I get it. Because you don't know, and you're and you don't, you want to give your guys rest, and I understand it. But on the flip side, what if the Cubs do lose today to the Mets?
Then you have to win.
And you go out there and you don't put your best foot forward, and you don't have any of your top guys coming out of the bullpen. Mason Miller's available, so you have that. But again, you don't have Manny having a bat, Cronenworth, Merrill,
Fernando Tatis Jr. Now that's no one's fault,
right?
But I mean, think about it. Your lineup also doesn't have him.
It is a choice.
It's a choice.
And I hope it works out for them, because if they go out tonight and if they lose and the Cubs lose, and the reason why they lost tonight is a lot to do with them resting all their guys, it won't be a great look.
This has moved the betting line, I believe, at ESPN Bet to Milwaukee now a slight favorite. Earlier, this is basically an even money play. Milwaukee has become a slight favorite tonight in game 2. Remember, this game matters for Milwaukee. They have not clinched the 1 seed. So Milwaukee is not sleepwalking for their final 5. I don't think. But because but they're treating it also like, do they really have to have these games?
They pulled Peralta last night at 70 something pitches,
which I get, because you can't lose Freddie Peralta if you're the 1 seed,
right?
Or the 2 seed. He has to be healthy.
You'd much rather have if you're the 2 seed and a healthy Freddie Peralta than the 1 seed and without him. Exactly.
So I understand that decision.
Yeah,
but these games do matter for Milwaukee as well. This will be an interesting one tonight. Can the Padres just eke out a win with this lineup against Milwaukee hungover to keep pressure on the Cubs, or have they punted on that 4 seed in the National League.
We haven't even read the full lineup.
We will on the other side. Plus, we'll get to the wrap. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760 and iHeartRadio bring you Global Citizen Festival 2025 from New York, Central Park's Great Lawn. Live performances from the weekend, Shakira, and more, all hosted by Hugh Jackman. Join the movement to end extreme poverty now, one action at a time at globalcitizenfestival.com. Check out Global Citizen Radio all day on the iHeartRadio app or listen to Hit Nation Saturday at 7. I saw a concert in Central Park once.
That's great.
Have you been to Central Park?
No. I've been in New York one time, and the one time I went there, it was like so foggy and rainy, and
That's great. Anyway, I saw a concert there one time.
You just asked me.
I saw Dave Matthews there, a free concert at Central Park. I want to say like 2003.
That's great.
And I'm going to tell you all about it for the next 10 minutes. So he opened with Warehouse.
Perfect. Off the top.
He then followed it up with number 41. I don't know, but it was 20 years ago. It was a good time.
Was that before or after their tour bus dumped that Porta John over the bridge?
That was before.
Before.
It was before that. All right. So what's the Padres lineup?
Luis Ariz is leading off. He's your DH tonight.
Okay.
Xander's back at short, hitting second. Gavin Sheets is hitting third. Ramon Laureano is hitting cleanup tonight in right field. Sheets is in left, by the way. O'Hearn is your first baseman. Iglesias is at third. Bryce Johnson's in center. Freddie Fermin behind the plate. And Mason McCoy's at second base. If I can go into this game, I want my money back.
Dude, they got a bobblehead giveaway? Is there another La Regadera too?
That is a choice right there to have that lineup go out there for things to play for still.
And Randy Vasquez is starting.
And Randy Vasquez is starting tonight.
And the bullpen is unavailable other than Mason Miller.
Yeah, good job.
So,
Wow, look at that lineup.
doesn't mean they're not going to win.
No, they could score 5 runs and still win the game.
I think score 1 run and potentially win the game, depending on how this plays out. But yeah, I mean, I personally, again, if it was up to me, if I was in charge of the organization, now easy for me to say, Manny might be like, I ain't playing.
Like, I'm hungover.
But
Skip.
If it were up to me, I'd be like, hey, listen, guys, we're 2.5 games back with a tiebreaker. The Chicago Cubs have lost 4 consecutive games. They're playing a desperate Mets team. So, like, what if the Mets win tonight? You got to keep the pressure on, is what I'm saying. Until it's abundantly clear you're the 5 seed, you have to play for the 4 seed.
What if? And it won't happen. But what if we get to it's like 5:30 and
8-0 Mets.
Right. 8-0 Mets in the third.
Boys, get ready.
I mean, you can change the lineup here, Skip. You don't have to have this set lineup
Manny.
until 6:38 or whatever it is when you bring up the lineup cards to the umps. You could change the lineup.
They're not doing that.
Even if the Cubs are trailing 11-0.
What's more ludicrous, my piggyback idea, King Darvish on Friday, or changing the lineup at 5:45?
100% your idea.
They're not changing the lineup. Guys prepare well before 5:45 to play. They have hitters meetings well in advance of that.
Will they be available off the bench for pinch hitting?
Yeah, I would think so. Why wouldn't they?
Okay.
I don't think they're hanging out at home watching SDFC highlights. I think they're available. Manny might be he's an owner, but I'm just saying I don't think Cronenworth is in Chicago with like his wife for the night.
No, of course not.
Like I think they're going to be in uniform.
They will be there, except for Toddy. Toddy's not there.
Toddy has a reason. If you're a player on a team, you're part of a union. You will be there.
Yeah.
But I don't think the lineup changes.
You're right. I don't think it does either. But it would be interesting that if we get to like 6 o'clock and the Mets are beat, it's 10-0, and you're like
Manny, dude,
come on, bro. We need you tonight.
We need your 4 bats. You run into a ball, we're gonna win.
Or at least, can we get you in there like
in the 8th,
in the 5th?
Oh yeah, I got you. After 2 at bats from like McCoy,
right? You're
coming in, or 2 at bats from Iglesias, you're coming in.
Yeah, can we get you there in the 5th?
That may happen. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these guys comes off the bench.
Man, if the Mets beat the Cubs tonight
and the Padres lose with this lineup, and it's like 2-0,
and we don't see any pinch hitting from any of the regulars, like Merrill, Cronenworth, Manny, none of those guys,
and they lose by a run. No, I can't allow that. I can't live in that world.
I'd be upset.
Is there a giveaway? Because to your point, I mean, I don't know what the big motivation is tonight necessarily after the clincher.
Yeah, the game
last night.
Says the game.
But I mean, the game without the best players on your team. I mean, who are the best players on the Padres?
They're on the bench.
Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Jackson Merrill are what people buy tickets for, right?
Right. No, you get Mason McCoy tonight and Bryce Johnson. Bryce Johnson's actually had a good season.
He's been awesome.
He's been really good.
He has.
Yeah.
Played a big role yesterday.
He's played his role pretty well.
What's the promotion tonight? I need it. Did you see it?
I don't think there is a promotion tonight.
No promotion?
Last night was the promotion, dude.
It was a huge promotion.
La Regadera.
Tonight is buy theme package for Korean Heritage.
Okay.
Or buy an all-inclusive ticket. So you're right.
So nothing.
There's not like the big giveaway or whatever.
It's not like
tonight.
a beer fest or anything.
Not
that's
like
usually on Fridays.
Giveaway Friday.
Yeah.
For Hispanic Heritage
Fan
night.
Appreciation Day on
Not that.
Sunday.
Yeah, you're right. All right. Well, it is what it is, as they say. And what it is I'm almost now. Are you kind of saying, well, then, hopefully, then the Cubs just win? I say no. I'm ready for the Mets.
I say no too. I want the Mets to win.
Right.
I want the Padres have to know, like, home field compared to on the road. Like, it's a big difference, dude. Kyle Glazer with us, moments ago was like, look, if they're at home, I'd pick the Padres. But if they're on the road, I think they're out in the wild card round.
Right. It's a big deal.
Just because there's such a different team at home than on the road. They're so much better at home, and we've seen it. They just play a different brand of baseball at home compared to the road.
Right.
And for them to just punt so close to the Cubs here, I get it. The guys need breaks, but why don't you
take a break in the end of the year?
You could take a break this weekend. If you get to Friday night and it's like
you're right,
3 up with 3 to play,
yeah, it's over.
For the Cubs, it's over. So why don't you try to, and you have off day Thursday as well.
Like I prefer hungover Manny to like non-hungover other players.
I prefer a 65% hungover on tequila Manny Machado than 100% Mason McCoy. Right? I mean, what are we doing here?
And I thought Manny's the back of the baseball card guy. Doesn't he need a couple of more home runs?
Probably won't get it.
What's he at? So 26?
So 26, 93 RBIs. I mean, he's very close.
That's what I'm saying. He needs to get to like 28. He needs to get 100. All right.
And tonight's wrap-up show.
Oh, that's going to be lit.
Oh, my God.
They lose 2-0. That's going to be thrilling.
Can we punt?
No,
just like the Padres.
Tomorrow's a day game.
Because the Padres punt.
It's true. All right, we'll get to the wrap on the other side. Stay with us, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports. Actually, you know what? On the other side, it's going to be Mark and Bob. Stay with us.
Yeah.
Everything you love about football.
All right, this update's brought to you by Parkwiz. Padres have punched their ticket to the postseason, beat the Brewers last night in extra innings thanks to a walk-off single by Freddie Fermin. Game 2 of their 3-game series tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch, Randy Vasquez on the mound. Xander Bogaerts has been reinstated. He's in the starting lineup tonight, playing shortstop, hitting second. Manny Machado, Jake Cronenworth, and Jackson Merrill all out of the lineup tonight. Fernando Tatis Jr. also not at the ballpark tonight, still dealing with an illness. And ABS will be making its way to baseball in 2026. Parking shouldn't slow you down. Parkwiz gives every driver a shortcut. Book ahead, save up to 50%, and skip the hassle of circling the block. Park smarter, park faster. Parkwiz. Download the Parkwiz app today and save every time you park.
All right, Jon and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 congratulates all our $5,000 winners in iHeartRadio's Thank You Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. There's still time for you to nominate a public school teacher making a difference. And maybe they'll be one of our next winners of $5,000 to make over their classroom. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future. Nominate your favorite teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. You know what I'm laughing at real quick? You don't know.
What?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. It's a pet peeve of mine. You've done it for every update. I'm going to tell you right now what it is.
What? What is it?
You're mentioning in your updates ABS. Okay, I'm going to need Brent to agree with me on this or disagree. ABS, you're using it as a term as if everyone knows what the term is. You're like, and Major League Baseball has approved ABS for 2026. What percent of people have ever heard the term ABS? Is it RBIs?
Do you want me to just say automated balls and strikes?
Automatic.
Is how many people know automatic balls and strikes?
But that to me at least makes sense over ABS. Sounds like I'm getting my brakes fixed or something.
We have a very smart group of listeners. Our listeners are very smart. They know, because we've talked about this a lot. ABS coming to baseball in 2026.
So you're saying most people know ABS, what it is.
And we've also talked about it on the show today extensively.
I agree.
We even asked Kyle Glazer about it.
So you're saying, I'm just making a point. I don't know what the point. I wanted you to know how I felt.
You want to do the updates?
No, I do not, dude. I'd rather not like your updates or criticize your updates than me do updates.
Look, we've already gone over this. I put close to zero effort into these updates.
Oh, shocking. Really? Take us behind the curtains. You put any effort in that?
I don't even have a script in front of me today. I just gone off the cuff.
What is it today? It's Padres Clinch yesterday. It's ABS is coming to your car in 2026.
What's ABS?
Automatic balls and strikes.
Okay.
What's the other thing in your update?
Xander's back.
Okay.
Game tonight, 6:40.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean,
no Monday Night Football last night.
Yeah.
What else
you want me to update? What else we got?
I mean, I would put probably Cubs, Mets in there.
They haven't even started yet.
I know. I'd be like Cubs and Mets coming up at 4:40.
Great.
Brent, can we get to the? Are you ready? You know what I'm talking about? The rap.
Want me to talk about the New York Liberty firing their head coach? Like, I mean, come on, talk about something no one cares about.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Is the loser of the Ravens-Chiefs game in danger of missing the playoffs?
I would say no, just as I feel both teams can get to 10 wins, and 10 wins probably in the postseason. Won't be as pretty. Like, they're not going to be competing for a 1 seed or a 2 seed, but making the postseason. Like, do you think anybody would want to face a Ravens team as a 6 seed?
No, other than Lamar Jackson just not winning the postseason.
That too.
I mean,
Or would anybody want to face Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs as a 6 seed?
Nobody wants to face Patrick Mahomes.
No, exactly.
No way.
But I also look at the division for the AFC North, and I'm like, Cincinnati leads that division at 2-1 with no Joe Burrow. Like,
yeah, that ain't happening.
No. Are you really confident that the Pittsburgh Steelers with Aaron Rodgers are going to win that division? Cleveland? No. I mean, that division is far from over, even if the Ravens do go 1-3.
Good point.
Yeah, Chiefs, though, Chiefs in the AFC West, Chargers, Denver, I mean, Vegas, whatever. But still, it's a much harder path for the Chiefs.
I think both teams will be fine. I don't think it's desperation panic time at 4 games in. I think both make the postseason, regardless of who wins.
Who wins the Ryder Cup?
What do you got, John?
Well, okay, that's your way of saying you don't know who's in it. It's either Europe or the U.S.
I know, but who do you got?
U.S. It's at Bethpage. It's in the U.S. You got 2 Aztecs, like half the American team.
All right, here's the American team. Scotty Scheffler, J.J. Spawn, Xander Schauffele, Russell Henley, Harris English, stop it, Ad, Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin, Cameron Young, Patrick Cantley, and Sam Burns.
Yeah, I'm taking that team at home.
Here's the European team. We have Rory McIlroy, Robert McKinstry, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Rasmus Højgaard, Tyrrell Hatton, Shane Lowry, John Rahm, Sepp Straka, Victor Hovland, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Ludwig Oberg.
Yeah, but are they punting on Bethpage this year? Yeah, I mean, I like U.S. at home with the 2 Aztecs. I like U.S.
Give me the U.S. at home.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to choose Europe. Like, I really like that European lineup.
Unless you're like European.
That's what I'm saying, but we're not choosing team.
We're
Europe
American.
Right,
damn it.
We eat red meat.
Here's a stupid question for someone that doesn't watch golf. Is this always played in Europe, or do they like alternate between the U.S. and?
Yeah, it's not in Europe now. It's going to be. This is in New York.
Okay, well, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, and then 2 years from now it'll be in Europe. Yep. And then 2 years later it's back in America.
They alternate. They alternate.
But this is like big.
It's massive. Go watch
Ryder Cup. Yeah. I mean, it's big. I mean, like the passion for it, the crowd's gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah.
In the suburbs of New York City. Yeah.
I love the Ryder Cup because, they don't treat it like traditional golf from a standpoint of when a guy makes a big putt or has a big shot, or like they celebrate like in the moment. They go crazy. And I like that because usually on a regular golf event, it's not team sport.
Yeah.
So everyone's individual and they go out there, and if they would celebrate like crazy in a hole, it's kind of looks weird. But in this format, in a team format, it's encouraged to celebrate. And I love that about the Ryder Cup.
I agree. Next question.
I wonder which one of you this is. Would you come up with an excuse to not go to a wedding this weekend because of great college football schedule?
This is a ridiculous college football Saturday.
Do you have to go to a wedding this weekend?
No. But I mean, people like you you'd probably get married.
I would?
Yeah.
I did.
I know, but you didn't get married, I'm saying, on this Saturday in the fall, but you probably would have maybe considered it. My point is you can't get married this weekend.
Because of Georgia, Alabama, Ohio, or not Ohio.
Penn State, Oregon.
Penn State, Oregon.
Indiana, Iowa,
LSU, Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be getting married.
Aztecs Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
USC, Illinois, yeah.
But like, do you agree? Like, who's getting married this weekend?
Look, if you're a big college football fan and you're getting married this weekend, I'm praying for all the wives out there.
Right, just sit on the phone.
That's it. Yeah,
bless you.
Because they're going to be very distracted. The men, and especially the groomsmen, they will be very distracted.
I think I watched Yankees Padres a year ago.
That's right, it was Yankees.
Yeah, we did. And the Padres lost. Good job, Jim.
All right, so here's the deal, John. The Mets have just taken a 1-0 lead over the Cubs.
The first swing of the game.
First swing of the game. The Cubs, if they lose this game and the Padres win tonight, it's a game and a half.
Yeah. 2 in the loss column.
So we are on our way to a potential Mets leading the Cubs like 10-0 in the third inning.
Well, we'll see. But yes, the first swing of the game from Francisco Lindor ends up with the basket at Wrigley.
I hate that stupid thing.
And the Cubs are trying, actually just when it's the first row, are trying to avoid a 5-game losing streak. Manning,
good start.
start stretching.
Yeah, start stretching.
Next
bro.
question.
Speaking of that, are the Padres punting on the 4 seed?
Cubs might.
Someone's punting. Yeah, I do. I think they are. I think they're prioritizing their health, lining things up, than trying to chase down the 4 seed and, getting to a point where like they spent all this energy to get the 4 and they didn't even get it. Now they got to reset and get ready for the wild card series. I think they're getting reset and ready for the wild card series now.
Let me see these standing. Like, what are we missing here? The Cubs have a 3-game lead in the loss column. Is that correct? They have 68 losses. The Padres have 71. The half game's inconsequential. The point is, the Cubs can afford to lose twice and guarantee themselves the postseason. They're guaranteed to go by going 4-2. They could go 3-3 if the Padres lose one time. So that to me is not certain. That is not certain that the Cubs are the 4 seed. And that's why I play with my best foot forward tonight.
And if the Cubs continue to stumble down the stretch here, maybe it's a good matchup for the Padres.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they go in losers of 8 of 9 or something, even if it's on the road, you're not going to feel good going in 2-7 in your last 9 games if you're Chicago. All right, we're going to react to that on the other side. Plus, we have a giveaway for you coming up next. We're giving away a pair of tickets to see UB40 Red Wine. Right? Yeah, UB40 at the Credit Union Open Air Theater on October 4th. We'll do that coming up next. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. It's automated balls and strikes.
Yeah.
Not automatic. I didn't say automatic. Go back and find
You did.
Did I?
I said automated, and then you said it's automatic. I go,
I think you did one.
One time.
I go, whatever, automatic.
If I hit one home run, does that make me a home run hitter?
If you only play one game, one at
Bryce
bat.
Johnson, a home run hitter? Is Jose Iglesias? Anyway, I might have gotten it wrong. I'm just saying, when you said ABS,
I know. And then I said automated balls and strikes. You said automatic, you idiot, loser.
I didn't say that.
You thought it.
I did think it. We have tickets to give away to see UB40. We'll do that in the next handful of minutes. Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater on October 4th. We're watching this Cubs Mets game like it's the World Series. It's 1-0 in the top of the first inning. Mets leading the Cubs, but that's the result the Padres are looking for.
Yeah.
That's the result the Padres are looking for. We get it. There's a long way home. It's 1-0. Now heading to the bottom of the first inning, but your point is a valid one that I feel like there's more pressure on the Cubs.
Oh,
Like they're probably tight right now. They know that they have work to do to secure the number 4 seed, but they don't have it locked up. So I think there's pressure on the Cubs. There's very little pressure right now on the Padres.
For teams that haven't been there or, haven't won a bunch of World Series or you get my point, right?
Yeah.
You much rather be the hunter than the hunted.
Yes.
I much rather prefer the Padres be in that situation than like one of the favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my head's at going to the postseason. I'm thinking about a Padres team with not very high expectations from around baseball, potentially. Like, they're the 5 seed. Like, okay. Even though I do think people look at the Padres and go, why are people down on them? They picked them to win the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that they will be the hunter here potentially and not the hunted for most of the postseason, depending on how far they go.
I do agree with that. And by the way, it's been kind of referenced but not discussed wildly as we're now honing in on Padres Cubs, regardless of location. It's happening.
Yeah.
The Kyle Tucker injury for the Cubs is massive. He's one of baseball's best players. He's had a very good year. He's not having a top 5 year, but 850s in OPS, like a very productive player. He's dealing with a calf. He's currently out. The postseason starts 7 days from now. I guess he could be back by then, or I'm sure he will be back by then. But again, you're talking about a Cubs team that has lost 4 consecutive games, that is without Kyle Tucker, holding on for dear life right now. You bring up a good point. I think that the role the Padres are going to fill, which is like this underdog role, I think that's going to suit them hopefully well.
It suited them well in 2022.
Yep.
Now, last year, okay. But being an underdog, I don't know. I feel like this franchise would be suited best in the underdog role.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a good history of, hey, we're the favorites, and they go out there and they win and continue to prove why they're the favorites, right? So being in that underdog role, I'd much rather prefer that. I think the team prefers that. I think the players prefer that. I think the fan base prefers that as well.
I hate it. That's
I hate
such
it
an
too.
amazing point. Imagine the Padres specifically. You've never won a World Series. Let's say you put together this magic year. You're the 1 seed. Let's say they won this division. They closed this division well this year.
Like 102 games.
Yeah, like they played in the second half last year. And now you're the 1 seed. You're sitting for a week, and everyone's expectations are the Padres are going to win the World Series. They're the best team in baseball. Like, that's so much pressure. That'd be way more pressure than what they're dealing with right now.
A lot of pressure, and I feel like they felt pressure in Game 4 last year, up 2-1 against the Dodgers.
Absolutely.
And they did not handle that pressure well at all.
Yeah.
Now, there will be a time if they get, like, say they're up 3, like, take it to an NLCS, they're up 3-1 in the NLCS this year.
Yeah, you got to win that series.
That's. I mean, you're going to feel pressure.
Yep.
Like, if they continue to win and they continue to move on, I'm not saying they're not going to feel any pressure, but because they will. But like right away, I don't feel like that pressure will be as magnified as if they had home field advantage and they won 100 games and everyone's picking them to win the World Series.
Does your feeling on their chances change based on how the Cubs finish? It's got to, right? Like if the Cubs, let's say the Cubs even host the series, but they go 2-4 down the stretch, they just stumble in to this.
What do the Padres do?
Well, in that scenario, they're not going They're 4-2, and they miss it by a game.
Okay.
Like, are you going to feel like you're taking on like a team that's wounded and not playing well? That means the Cubs would be 2-7 over a 9-game stretch.
It would make me feel even worse because the Padres are, in theory,
Yeah,
punting tonight.
and then you're missing out by one game.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they could win tonight. I'm not saying the
course.
Padres have no shot. It's not like they
No.
have a lineup of all Mason McCoys.
Right. The odds are like 50-50 right now.
Yeah, Ramon Liriano, Gavin Sheets, Ryan O'Hearn, Luis Arise.
Good players.
Those guys are in the lineup tonight.
Right. Exactly.
What was the question?
Do you feel different if the Cubs continue to stumble?
Oh, yeah, I do. I think the Cubs are not going to be happy and not be thrilled to face the Padres in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
I think there will be like, oh, we're scared. I do. I think Cubs fans will be like a little scared.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the confidence will be through the roof with Cubs fans. And if the Padres went in there and took game 1 at Wrigley Field, now obviously the pressure moves to the Cubs, and they're going to play. They're going to be playing tight.
I mean, they had this golden opportunity basically this past weekend, right? I mean, they could have put the 4 seed on ice. They just could have beat the Reds one time.
I know.
I mean, that's what we're talking about right now. I think one additional game, this feels out of reach, but they didn't do that. And again, it's early, but they are trailing right now to the Mets at home, 1-0 in the bottom of the first inning. So we'll keep you updated on that game. Padres will get underway with the Brewers at 6:40. And guess what?
What?
Mike Schild has spoken with the media. And he has done it for a lengthy period of time.
Oh my goodness.
Like 10 minutes.
Oh.
So we'll hear from Mike Schild on the other side of a break. Also, guess what?
What?
We have a pair of tickets to see UB40 at the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater. If you want those tickets, call right now. Caller 7, you're going. 877-767-4760. We have 2 free tickets to see UB40 at the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater on October 4th. Caller 7, you've got free tickets right now. 2 free tickets. Call 877-767-4760. Again, 877-767-4760. So let's set up this 5 o'clock hour. We'll hear from Mike Schild, who just spoke with the media, and maybe he'll give us his thoughts on why the lineup looks the way it does here tonight. I need to know.
I can't wait.
I can't wait for that. Then at 5:30, if you missed our conversation with Kyle Glazer, Friar Territory podcast with more of the Padres clinching this postseason berth, you'll hear that coming up at 5:30. So Mike Schild on the other side, Kyle Glazer at 5:30. Jim's back page is still ahead. We're here until 6 p.m. This is Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it is Jon and Jim again for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place, and now open the hotel and spa at Jamul Casino Resort. It's the next level of luxury. You can treat yourself to a stunning new stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, and all the thrills of Jamul Casino Resort now all in one unforgettable destination.
We got one Monday left in the month of September. Join them every Monday this September, which is one time remaining. You can win big with a $100,000 punch out with 10 winners every hour at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m. Your odds are better than ever. Their Onyx players will receive an extra $500 in cash bonuses on top of their winnings. Plus, you can earn entries all month long by playing and getting 2-time entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 in cash for all winners. And like I said, a chance to win up to $100,000 in cash.
Jamul 23 Gym has endless dining every day. You can savor San Diego's ultimate endless dining experience. From their world-famous lobster brunch served every morning to the luxurious VIP endless dining experience each evening, indulgent chef-curated specialties, fresh seafood, prime cuts, and decadent desserts. That's at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
All right, this update's brought to you by ParkWiz. Padres punched their ticket last night, beating the Brewers in extra innings. Freddie Fermin walk-off single. Game 2 of their 3-game series tonight at Petco Park. Padres are they have the hungover lineup in there tonight. No Manny, no Cronenworth, no Merrill in the lineup. Fernando Tatis Jr. still dealing with an illness. He is not even at the ballpark. 6:40 first pitch tonight. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Score update in baseball, games that directly affect the Padres and their seeding. Right now, Cubs and Mets from Wrigley Field. Cubs have taken a 2-1 lead heading to the top of the second inning there. And baseball is implementing ABS, automated balls and strikes, for the 2026 baseball season. Parking shouldn't slow you down. ParkWiz gives every driver a shortcut. Look ahead, save up to 50%, and skip the hassle of circling the block. Park smarter, park faster. ParkWiz. Download the ParkWiz app today and save every time you park.
Step 1, a spot in the postseason.
Remain lines it into left center. It's a walk-off. Johnson's coming from third. And with that, the San Diego Padres are headed back to the postseason in 2025.
Now, who will they face? Now, live from the studios of San Diego Sports 760, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of Jon and Jim. If you missed Kyle Glazer, used to be with Baseball America, you'll hear his thoughts on the Padres' playoff chances at 5:30. We'll hear from Mike Shilton in a moment. We just saw Juan Soto basically butcher a ball and right. I mean, it was poorly played. It will go as a double. Carlos Santana puts a ball over Soto and right. It could have been caught. It scores 2 runs. And as you just said, the Cubs are now leading the Mets 2-1, just an inning in. Who the hell knows what's going to happen tonight at Wrigley? Yeah. But 2-1 Cubs early in that critical game for both those two teams and the San Diego Padres.
Obviously, we know about Juan Soto's defense. Right? It's not good. And if he was just like a slightly above average defender in the outfield, he would be literally probably the best player in the sport. And he already is a top 10 player in the sport right now.
The play that he just didn't make. Imagine if Fernando Tatis Jr. was right.
Oh, my gosh.
He would have tossed the ball. He would have been camped underneath the ball for 3 seconds.
He's done a backflip.
I mean, he would have made it the most routine play ever. And Soto completely butchered the thing. So 2-1 Cubs right now in the top of the second inning. Let's hear from Mike Shilton. He had a lengthy sit down. I want to hear about the lineup. I hope he's asked about it.
We'll see. I mean, we're going to get the softball questions for the first 4 minutes, but we'll see if someone actually gets to the lineup.
Well, if I was there, here's the first question I would ask.
And they're thinking.
Here's what I would ask if I was there.
Yeah.
How fun was that last night, post-game, that celebration?
It's a good question.
It's really fun. A lot leads up to it. In our game, we try to do our job to celebrate every win. But in this industry, it's always about what's next. And it's still about what's next right now. But, you spend a lot of time, energy, organizationally working towards being a team that has a chance to win a World Series. And it's not an easy thing to do. And you spend a lot of time, I was talking to Kevin O'Connell about this, the head coach of the Vikings when we were over in Minnesota, just how different the sports are, day to day versus, week to week. And they're all both really magnified, but the grind it takes every day to compete, to show up, and then have an accomplishment that gets us in the playoffs for the second year in a row is very fulfilling. And, a lot of people to be thankful. And one of the group that I failed to mention, I mentioned player development, but I want to specifically talk about our AAA staff. That group, Peter Zamora and Scott Mitchell and Jeff Jones and Big City, Matt Adams, who had years ago, and Raul Padron, the hitting coach, have done a phenomenal job getting these guys ready to come up and help us. So they deserve some real kudos. Unsung heroes.
Yeah. How proud are you of this team and what you guys had to overcome over the course of the season? Because every season has its own challenges, but this one's been unique.
It does have its challenges. It's not a straight line for anybody in this league. It's just not. That's also the separator. And, this has been a grindy year. There's been a lot of, between the rotation and injury and just a lot of different, coming into the season with some
open, question marks about positions, and clearly the trade deadline shored that up, and grateful for AJ and all the work that and this ownership supported us with. But yeah, it's been a year where a lot of moving parts, and we've had a group that's been able to keep their eye on the prize and stay dedicated. And who you are is what you do when you're most uncomfortable. It's been uncomfortable at times this year, but that's where you grow too. And we were able to get through it, and here we are, and in a good position. And now we are looking to the next steps.
Yeah. And what are the next steps? Because obviously it's nice that you got a little bit of time to start planning for postseason, but also this season's not done yet either. So what's the focus right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's you don't want to be with your feet in two different places, but we are in, so we're cemented there. And now we're really clear about, we're not going to give anything away. We look to compete, and, I want to be here Tuesday night playing in front of the best fans in baseball. We are going to be smart about giving some guys some rest, and people might think, oh, man, why are you resting them now? Well, they've been grinding, man. These guys, we bypassed a couple of days off for some guys that once we got there that we had thought about and having some days off, we went, no, we got to keep going. And so now getting some guys off their feet, but they'll be back on them, making sure we're smart with the bullpen, and guys that have, hats off to Suarez and Morihone last night, 3 in a row for the first time, which we wait for that time, to make sure. So last night was the right time to do it. But, man, Morihone coming in blowing 100 after striking out the side the day before. Suarez coming in and, throwing as well as he did. Fantastic. But those guys are going to get, a day or two off as well and take advantage of the off day. But, let's don't kid ourselves. We're going to be mindful about putting ourselves in the best position to be ready and healthy and really compete on Tuesday, but also, we want to be here and play on Tuesday as well.
And Bogart's back. How important is it to have him back, and how crucial for him to get this time to get himself ready for the season?
It's really important. I mean, it's a good time for Bogey to be back. We talked about the grindiness and missing him. Sometimes you don't appreciate how solid that guy is and how much he means to our lineup until it's like anything. You don't appreciate something until it's gone sometimes. And unfortunately, it was gone. But, Crony and we picked up the proverbial slack, but having Bogey back is a big part of this. And the timing of it's great because it's going to give him, 4 to 5 games to go play and get his timing and get back into what he needs to do to go help us win.
Any update on Fernando? How he's feeling?
Still battling it, man. Still in a position where medically everybody's like, just get rest. Thankfully you're able to do what we did last night, but don't feel like it was something that, we need to bring him in and try to grind through. He's just not feeling really good, but he's on the mend a little bit, and we'll see about tomorrow.
Can you speak to any of his specific symptoms?
He's sick. I mean, he's got nausea, and he's got fever, and he's got chills, and he's sick. I don't know what more to tell you. I'm not a medical doctor, and I'm not going to talk about people's medical histories without, I'll just tell you he's sick. I don't know what more to tell you. I know you want to be able to report it, but I'll just leave it at that.
Do you know results from tests that have been taken?
I'm not going to reveal medical testing.
Okay.
So
with Bogart's back, kind of what it does for your offense, not just obviously having him back, but like completing your offense when Fernando's back too, and presumably next week. But what does that mean in terms of having that whole group of guys together, which you haven't had very often?
We have not had it. I do feel like we clearly have a deep lineup, and it's good. We have a deep team, position player team, that guys have been able to fill in admirably. I mean, last night Johnson goes out and plays a great game. McCoy's in there today, expecting to go do some things to help us win a ball game. The lefties, we talked about, how they've been competing well against lefties and, allowing them to do that, and they've rewarded that. But with Bogey in the lineup, it balances it out. It creates really what the design of the club is to be, and that's to have a balanced attack 1 through 9 and have Bogey back. And then when Fernando gets back, it'll allow us to have that complete lineup.
What can we realistically expect from him after missing the kind of time he did coming back at this time of year?
I think we have. I mean, expectations are always high, and no higher than Bogey's going to put on himself. Being at this time of the year, and he, I should probably know the exact number, but this guy's got close to 500 at bats. So he hadn't missed he's missed some time, but it'd be different, like him to figure out his rhythm if this is April or even May. He's got his 500 at bats in. He went to Arizona and which is, I love the way we approach our rehab with our position players in the sense that, he was able to get, 25, 30 at bats there. Swing looks really good. So I expect him to come back. It's just a matter how he's able to move, but I think we're comfortable and confident about that as well. But as far as his timing and his hitting, listen, it's still the big league, so it's maybe adjustment there, but wrap up point, I think he's in a pretty good place.
Like the ABS challenge system, was it thoughts on that?
No, when I saw it, I went, yep, it was coming. I could have told you that 2 years ago. So the thoughts, just like 3-batter minimum, pitch clock, all the rules that get implemented, the commissioner's office does what they do think, and clearly a lot of these things have been really good for the game, been proven by fan engagement and attendance and enjoyment. But ultimately my job is to play within the rules that we have, and in my opinion, ultimately they didn't ask it, and that's okay. That's out of my pay grade, and we'll deal with it next year when it comes to force.
How did you make it work?
It was. I thought it was, fine. It kind of worked the way I expected it to work. I think the biggest one is, and I just saw, and I don't think, but I could be stand corrected, if they've officially made how it's going to be implemented as far as challenge system or that.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the biggest part of it. There, create some strategy which we all enjoy. But yeah, as far as it getting, announced, I didn't need to be sitting down. That was coming.
Don't you think it's a good thing to be able to question a pitch that in a key situation where there's so many times it's borderline?
I think it's ultimately that you want to get it right. You want a fair game, and you don't want a decision to be made to affect a team one way or the other. I think it's also going to save managers some money. We're going to have to really work hard to get ejected now. With the replay, you can't argue against a phone or against New York, although I've tried and that didn't work. That was a bigger fine. And now you can't yell at an umpire for balls and strikes because he's just doing what the monitor tells him. So ejections go way down and fines are down. So anyway, that's maybe a benefit from it. Probably not. Mr. Torrey got me a couple of years ago. He called me, and Joe Torrey, a mentor of mine, and known him for a long time, and I took exception with the replay phone, and he said, "Mike, you know how much I care for you." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "But here's going to be what we're going to do for you, to you," and I went, "Gulp. Thanks, Mr. Torrey," and that was it. But it was, that would hurt.
How was it from your perspective, for Rodriguez to get his first win on a special day like yesterday?
Oh man, how about that one? Talk about a memorable first win. And traditionally guys will get like a beer shower or some kind of shower after their first win. We threw a big party for Gradually last night for his first win. He knows that's how it works all the time. But yeah, congratulations to him, and big for us, obviously. Very memorable.
All right, here's my issue. We can talk about on the other side.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, we want to play here," as in at Petco on Tuesday, but then they put a lineup out there.
Looks like that.
So we can get into that. Nobody asked about the lineup.
No, everyone just wanted to talk about, how great was that last night?
Right. All right, we'll react on the other side. Plus, if we missed Kyle Glazer, formerly Baseball America, now Friar Territory, you'll hear that coming up at 5:30. Also, we have an update from Wrigley. Cubs and Mets underway. Critical game involving the Padres and the playoff chances and seeding, as well as chances but seeding. Stay with us, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, speaking of SDFC, tomorrow at 6, right here on San Diego Sports 760, it is SDFC Midweek Live. Hear from Mikey Varis, as well as interviews with players and coaches. Find out the latest club and MLS information. SDFC Midweek Live tomorrow at 6. On your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. Tyler Heaps, their general manager, sporting director, will join us tomorrow at 3:15. In addition, there will be SDFC ticket giveaways this week on San Diego Sports 760.
Yes, there will be.
For that as well, beginning tomorrow.
Final home game of the regular season before the postseason begins.
They'll be back here for the postseason too.
Yep. So, we'll have ticket giveaways for the rest of the week, you said?
Yeah, definitely, right?
Yeah. And we'll tell you you can win those tickets tomorrow. A little update around baseball right now. First, Tigers are completely falling apart. There was a really scary moment in that game between Tariq Skubal and I forget who was at the plate. Tariq Skubal threw a 99-mile-per-hour fastball that the batter squared to bunt, and it hit him flush in the middle of the face. Like not off the helmet, in the middle of his face.
Squared, which means you so rarely in baseball see someone face a pitcher like that. Oftentimes, it's off the side of a batting helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, he was facing the pitcher, and he got hit flush. It was a very scary scene. In addition to that, though, what this all means, Skubal had a 2-0 lead in the 6th inning. Never in baseball history has a team blown a 14-game divisional lead. The Tigers, if they lose tonight, have blown a 14-game divisional lead.
That's incredible.
They'd be even with the Guardians. Doesn't mean they're out. Doesn't mean they can't win the division. But think about that. They would blow a 14-game lead. They had it in July, by the way, the 14-game lead. They had a 9-game lead 10 days ago.
Didn't they have like 7 All-Stars?
Yeah. But I don't know if that's going to save them.
You know who they remind me of? They remind me of the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA years ago when they had like 5 All-Stars, like Al Horford and Kyle Korver, and they were the 1 seed.
Oh, yeah. But then did nothing in the postseason, or did they lose in the first round?
I think they might have lost like LeBron in the Cavs.
Okay.
Anyway.
But the other story is what the Cubs are doing right now to the Mets.
Yeah.
And the Cubs are all over the Mets. It's 5-1 right now in the 2nd inning. So Chicago all over New York. They've chased the Mets starter from this game. Again, a Cubs win makes it more challenging for the Padres to secure anything other than the 5 seed.
Correct.
It will lower their magic number. In fact, the Cubs' magic number to clinch the 4 seed if they win tonight.
So if the Cubs win tonight, there won't be as much criticism aimed at Mike Schilt for giving all these guys a day off in a day where it's like, you have a chance, guys, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would still say you'd want to win if the Cubs won.
Right.
But you'd still be 3. You'd be 3 back in the loss column with 4 to play. The writing's is going to be on the wall.
And then other scores in baseball that affect the wild card race. Right now, Reds trail the Pirates 4-2 as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning there.
Okay.
So if they lose tonight and the Mets score holds and they lose to the Cubs, then the Reds and the Mets would still be tied for the final wild card spot in the National League.
Well, what's going on with Arizona? They're only a game back.
That is true. Arizona tonight,
Dodgers.
They play the Dodgers at home.
So are you telling me at the end of the night, in a world where the Diamondbacks beat Ohtani, you have a 3-way tie for the final wild card?
Yeah, that would be right.
If the Diamondbacks win at home, they would beat Ohtani, which is proven to be he's been beaten a number of times.
Yeah.
Or they've lost games he started. We would have a 3-way tie with 4 days left in the season, 5 days left in the season, because the Padres have an off day.
And if the Padres won tonight and the Dodgers lost tonight, Padres be a game and a half back of the division.
Without the tiebreaker.
Without the tiebreaker, though, yes.
Which is it's a narrower path to the division than it is the 4 seed. Because they have to overcome one additional game.
Correct. But still, they'd be 2.5 back. Or no, they would be a game and
the loss column.
A game and a half back of the Cubs.
The Dodgers have 68 losses.
So do the Cubs right now.
I'm saying, let's say the Dodgers lost tonight, very possible.
And the Padres win,
and the Padres win,
2 back in the loss,
which is still 3 games they'd have to overcome with 4 games remaining in their season.
Still
possible. It would remain possible.
That would be something.
And remember, the Dodgers are going to Seattle.
And Seattle is red hot
and has not clinched a 1 seed. They're still mathematically alive for it.
They have not even clinched a division.
Right, because Houston's 3 games behind them. There's a ton going on around baseball. Amazing week here.
There's a lot happening.
The Detroit-Cleveland thing is fascinating.
Yeah, I haven't paid much attention to that, but I've seen their lead in the Central dwindle here.
Just evaporate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, right in front of our eyes. So listen, what Mike Schultz said earlier was like, we're not giving up an inch.
Okay.
He gave up an inch.
When he says that, it's all
means
talk.
he is. That means they are.
It's all talk to put on a front to the media and to the fans, and maybe even his players. But we know how it is, Mike. It's a front. You're Mr. Tough Guy at times. Like, we know the deal here.
It's like, we're not going to get, hey, these guys have played a lot. And it is true. I do think there's that balancing act.
Yeah.
You don't want to run Manny Machado into the ground. You don't want to hurt a reliever. You don't want someone not to be 100% or as close as you can be this time of year. I understand that. And I do think there's a lot of validity in Adrian Morejon being fresh.
You're right.
And Mason Miller being fresh. I think it matters. I know it matters. So I get it. Now, would I have sat everyone today? To Kyle Glazer's point, I wouldn't have sat everyone.
Probably not.
Could you sit one player? Okay, sit one player. Yeah. But even a Merrill who's been red hot, he hasn't played a lot.
Yeah, like if you want to sit Manny and Cronenworth tonight, and then you sit Merrill tomorrow,
something like that.
Yeah,
exactly, something like that. I think does make sense. So again, the updates from Wrigley. It is 5-1 Cubs heading to the bottom of the third inning. Again, a Cubs win lowers their magic number to clinch that 4 seed. And we may be destined to see the Padres at Wrigley a week from today.
Potentially, depending on what transpires. I mean, look, dude.
What time's that game?
What, tomorrow?
Padres Cubs if it's in the playoffs. We theorized that would be in the middle of the afternoon, didn't we? That was our theory.
Yeah. So let's just play it out here. Okay. Well, look, if the Mets don't make the postseason and the Reds make it, or it's Dodgers, Arizona, I think might get the nightcap just because Dodgers are defending World Series champions.
But that's kind of the late
West
Pacific
Coast.
Start. There's that 10 o'clock Eastern. So who gets that 7 p.m. Eastern? That's a Yankees or Red Sox situation, presumably.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's Yankees, Red Sox right now. Boston has a 1-game lead on Cleveland and Houston. But if Cleveland wins tonight, then Detroit drops down to the wild card, tied with Houston if Houston wins tonight.
Wait, did the Yankees play the Red Sox?
Yeah, we talked about this. They could play the Red Sox, yeah, in the first round. Because the Yankees are a 4 seed, Red Sox are a 5. Last week.
Was I here?
You were sitting right there when we talked about it.
Was I listening?
Probably not, apparently.
All right, Kyle Glazer, Friar Territory
we
podcast.
specifically had this conversation about the time of the Padres game if they played the Cubs.
Oh, because you're like, if it's Yankees Red Sox, you have no shot.
And we determined that if it was Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, Red Sox, those 2 teams would get the nightcap.
Yeah.
And Padres Cubs would most likely get 2-day games in there.
No, I would put Reds D-backs or whatever.
Like, was I listening? No, you weren't.
Kyle Glazer on the other side. Shout out to Jim.
This update's brought to you by ParkWiz. Padres Brewers game 2 of their 3-game series tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Padres have already clinched a playoff spot with their win last night. Looking at scores around baseball, Cubs and Mets heading to the top of the 4th inning. Cubs lead the Mets 5-1 in that game. Of course, the Padres trail the Cubs for the 4 seed by 2.5 games. So they're going to need the Mets to make a comeback here tonight. Looking at Xander Bogaerts, he has returned to the line tonight. He is returning off the IL. Will Wagner has been sent down to AAA. And in 2026, ABS, automated balls and strikes, will be coming to baseball. Parking shouldn't slow you down. ParkWiz gives every driver a shortcut. Book ahead, save up to 50%. And skip the hassle of circling the block. Park smarter, park faster. ParkWiz. Download the ParkWiz app today and save every time you park.
All right, we had Kyle Glaser on the show within the last 2 hours. And if you missed the conversation, we started by asking about this lineup that does not include Manny Machado tonight. After
Definitely surprises me seeing all of Machado and Merrill and Cronenworth all out, just because for the reasons you stated. The Padres still have a chance to catch the Cubs for the top wild card spot. Mathematically, they're still in the division title race as well, but we know how important it is for this Padres team to be home in any series they play. And given the fact that if they're the 4th seed, they'd be home for the wild card round versus they'd go on the road as the 5 seed. I'm a little surprised to see all 3 of those guys out in the same day and this lineup being what they're putting out there. I understand if you want to give one guy, a day off each of the next couple of days, that's fine. But I am surprised that this is the lineup they're running out there, given they still have a lot to play for.
Yeah, lots to play for. And we'll see. Kind of does feel like they've punted here on the 4 seed and they're trying to line everything up for the postseason. So, now that they are officially in the postseason, Kyle, and they'll be in that 4-5 matchup, most likely going to Chicago. For you, what is your, optimism for this Padres team come postseason time, albeit they're nothing bad happens to them in the final 5 days?
Yeah, I think if you're looking for reason for optimism, it's that all of Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and Jackson Merrill are hitting at the same time, and you can loop Jake Cronenworth in there too. We've seen throughout this season, whether due to injuries, slumps, any number of things, the Padres very rarely have had their best hitters all going well at the same time. And they've all been, hitting the ball for the most part pretty well. In the case of, Merrill and Tatis, it's been pretty much all of September. For Machado, it's been the last half of September. So that's the reason for optimism is we're starting to see their best offensive performers swing the bats at the same time. And look, we all know, Luis Arias as well is having a great month. So a lot of their key guys are hitting, and that's something they haven't had a lot of this year.
Kyle Glaser is with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. It appears as if they're lining things up for Michael King to pitch in game 2 of a postseason series. Regardless of that, who would you go with? If you could just snap your fingers, obviously Nick Pivetta would get the ball in game 1. Where would you turn in game 2 and or 3 and why?
To me, it was going to come down to which of Michael King, Dylan Cease, and Yu Darvish looks best. All 3 this in their final starts. All 3 of them, we know what they're capable of at their best, but none of them have consistently been at their best this season. King was before his injuries. Since he's come back, it's been very hit or miss. I understand going Michael King in the 2 spot just because at the end of the day, out of him, Cease, and Darvish, he probably is the guy you trust the most. And then again, game 3, at this point, Cease is pitching better than Darvish, so he would get the nod. But I do think a lot of it should have depended on how they look in this last start, because none of the 3 of them have been super convincing here over these last few weeks.
I feel like going into this postseason, it's a big postseason for Manny. He struggled in the postseason in his career. Last year against the Dodgers, he did not have a good series. He has not played well in the postseason historically, over his career. So going into this postseason here, Kyle, how much are you going to put on Manny's shoulders here, and how much pressure do you think he's under to, actually perform here?
Look, for the Padres to achieve their stated goals of getting to a World Series and winning a World Series, they are going to need the best version of Manny Machado. At the same time, I wouldn't say that he is going to make or break all of the Padres' postseason success. Realistically, they're starting pitching and how those guys we talked about Michael King, Dylan Cease, and Yu Darvish pitch in the postseason, that's going to have a bigger impact than anything, Manny Machado does, just because, look, even when Machado's going well, as he was for most of the season, we know this is a 3-run per game kind of offense, and we know they have a great bullpen. The variable is their starting pitching. So I think that's going to have a bigger impact overall on how far they go. But look, there's no question having the best version of Manny Machado is absolutely something this offense needs.
Kyle Glazer, Friar Territory Podcast, with us right now on Jon and Jim. Regardless of how this ends, whether it's in the wild card round or with them hoisting a trophy for the first time in franchise history, would you envision an AJ Preller extension regardless now that they're back in the postseason?
I would. Obviously he has been very, very aggressive throughout his tenure. There have been some moves that have worked out really well, some moves that have not worked out well. There's a lot of pros and cons, but at the end of the day, the Padres have reached the postseason 4 times in 6 seasons during this last part of his tenure. That's something this franchise has never done in its history. And ultimately, I think, punting on the guy who, at the end of the day, is responsible for having built these playoff caliber teams probably would not be the right move.
This team does have, flaws. They're not a perfect team. No team is a perfect team in the National League or the American League. The Padres offense this year has struggled. Their starting rotation, as you mentioned, struggled. Their bullpen, though, is a strength of this team. The loss of Jason Adam does hurt. But how much would you expect or hope Mike Shildt relies on his bullpen in the postseason? What would you say there?
You certainly want to see him not be afraid to roll these guys out there against the best hitters in baseball in big moments, and he's not going to be. That said, you have to be careful not to be over-reliant. If you have a starting pitcher who's looking great through 5 innings, you don't want to pull the trigger too quickly and just bring a reliever in for the sake of, our bullpen is great. You need to let your starters go and give you everything they have so you don't burn this bullpen out too early. So really the concern is not lack of use of the bullpen. The concern would be overuse. The starters also need to make the decision for Mike Shildt easier by actually pitching well.
That's a good point. Kyle Glazer with us right now on Jon and Jim. If it is Padres Cubs, regardless of location, Wrigley or Petco, we know the Cubs have lost 4 straight. We know it has not been a perfect second half for San Diego. How do you see that matchup in terms of how do the teams stack up against each other come a week from now?
Yeah, look, the Cubs starting pitching is okay. It's not great, and their bullpen is a question mark. So you have that aspect of them to question mark, where the Padres offense, as we've talked about, is not a juggernaut. On the flip side, the Padres pitching is a strength. The Cubs offense has been their strength all year, but Kyle Tucker is hurt. We don't know his status. A lot of key guys, Pete Crow Armstrong, Michael Busch, Seiya Suzuki, have struggled the entire second half. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I do really think it's going to come down to who has home field. We've seen it all year. This Padres team at Petco Park is a completely different team than the one that plays away from Petco Park in terms of the energy, the intensity, and the aggressiveness. That's why I really think it's critical for the Padres to give everything they have to get the 4 seed, because I really do think if they're at home for this series against the Cubs, they win. If they go on the road, I think they lose.
And it looks like, they're probably going on the road unless they continue to win. And it seems like they've punted here and they've prioritized the health over the 5 or the 4 seed. So looking at the landscape of just the National League here, Kyle, I think you were on with us maybe a couple weeks ago. And did you say that the Phillies in your mind was the best team? And if you did, do you still feel that way going into the postseason?
Yeah, I did say that at the time, and I still do think that this would be my World Series pick. At the same time, look, losing Zach Wheeler is a huge, huge blow. We have to see Trey Turner, what he looks like when he comes back off the IL. But I do, when I look at just top to bottom, what all these teams have, their rotation, who's got the back of their bullpen, the lineup 1 to 9, even some of the best bench guys, and also the managers who have been there before, who have done it. The Phillies just really stand out to me as the team I would pick to win it all and obviously that means they advance out of the NL. The AL, I go back and forth depending on the day between the Mariners and the Blue Jays, but I really do expect us to see a Phillies, versus either Toronto or Seattle World Series.
Kyle, one more for me about automatic balls and strikes coming to the majors in 2026. Yes. I saw something on the bottom line that surprised me. It just showed that in AAA this year, the amount of successful challenges is exactly 50%. And that surprised me. I thought it would be higher than that. What impact does it have? And what's your thought on ABS coming to Major League Baseball?
Yeah, I saw the ABS in action a lot during my time at Baseball America and the minors, the fall leagues, spring training. It's going to be a net positive for the game. You're going to have situations where, if a call is wrong, a team has an opportunity to challenge it and not have that wrong call affect the entire outcome of the game. We see so many times late in games, big situations, a blown strike call or a blown ball call, that can be the difference between a win or a loss. I think eliminating that, making sure they get the call right, especially in the biggest moments, in the biggest games, that's just going to be better for the game all around.
Coming in 2026 to Major League Baseball. Kyle, always appreciate your perspective. Hope all is well. We'll catch up with you hopefully in the postseason, and thanks for doing it.
Thanks, Kyle.
My pleasure. Anytime, guys.
All right, so the update from Chicago right now, the Cubs are leading the Mets 5-1. Again, a Cubs win lowers their magic number to be the 4 seed in the upcoming National League postseason, which in turn means host the Padres essentially in the wild card round.
What would that number be?
I can tell you.
Okay.
They have 6 games remaining and the Padres have 5, right? Their magic number, they're a lock to make the postseason by going 4-2. Therefore, if they win today, their magic number is 3.
Well, the Cubs already clinched the playoff berth, right?
Clinch the 4 seed.
Oh,
to clinch the 4 seed, they entered the day with a magic number of 4. 4 wins, the Padres can't pass them.
Right.
So if they win today, their magic number goes down to 3.
If the Padres lose, then it goes down to 2.
Exactly right. So again, not over. No matter what happens.
No, not over.
But 5-1 right now, Cubs. In the 4th, we'll take a timeout. Jim's back page coming up next. All right, we'll be giving away SDFC tickets tomorrow, right here on San Diego Sports 760. Be listening beginning when we've got live programming at noon tomorrow. We'll be giving away pairs of tickets to see SDFC in its home finale, which is coming up again Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. The Cubs have added on a couple of errors against the Mets. What's their name?
The Mets.
Okay, real quick
The Metropolitans.
Before we get to back page, it's 6-1.
Yeah.
Well, I worked in the minors, right?
Okay.
And I worked for a former Mets single A team out of college. They were the Lynchburg Hillcats. But back in the day, they were the Lynchburg Mets. And their mascot, his name was Metzelfrackus.
What?
The Lynchburg Mets mascot was named Metzelfrackus, which I think is a great mascot name. I don't know what it means, but that was their mascot.
Okay.
When they were a Mets affiliate. All right, let's get to it.
I would ask you if you like hot dogs, but I already know the answer to that.
I don't eat hot dogs.
I know you don't, but I love a good hot dog.
Do you?
I do. And Chicago has some of the best hot dogs there is.
Are you giving me a Chicago story? Because I'm going to Chicago this week.
I am giving you a Chicago story. Brent, you might have heard of this.
Yeah, I already know what it is.
Ari Levy.
Okay.
The owner of the hot dog stand, the Wiener Circle, today. Yeah, exactly. Today.
Like the Winner Circle?
Yeah, but it's called the Wieners Circle.
Got it.
Gave out free hot dogs from 8 a.m. from when was it? From basically all day. And from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Gave out free hot dogs.
Free hot dogs all day today.
Why?
Because he put out on social media last week that if Caleb Williams threw 4 touchdowns on Sunday, we will give away free hot dogs on Tuesday. And the Chicago Bears, it blew up, and everybody saw. Even Caleb Williams mentioned it in his post game.
It's amazing.
And so today was Free Glizzy Day, as they put on their sign. It says Free Glizzy Tuesday. Caleb did it. 4 tutties.
I mean, it's good promotion, is it not? Being discussed nationally and in the city of Chicago.
Massive promotion.
Yeah.
Dude, I guess like in a half hour before they even opened, the line was all the way down the block.
I wonder how many hot dogs they ended up giving away.
The Wieners Circle ordered an extra 2,000 hot dogs ahead of Tuesday's giveaway. And they also got donated 2,000 poppy seed buns to support the giveaway.
I would think you would need more than that.
Yeah, especially if you're not free hot dogs all day long.
Big city like Chicago.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Very cool.
The post was reshared over 2,000 times, over 10,000 likes, late Sunday afternoon as Levy watched the Bears take down the Cowboys 34-14.
With 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Williams said post-game, I've heard about the 4 touchdown thing. Congrats, everybody. You get a free hot dog.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I like that.
So that's pretty cool.
It is cool.
Now, you're going to Chicago
I
soon?
am.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, this weekend.
Oh, that's right. You had Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything for you for Chicago. Sorry.
What do you mean? Like, for the back page?
No, I meant like ideas for things to do. Because you said
I did. Wait, did I ask you?
You just did. I said, a Chicago story. I'm going to Chicago in 4 days. Give me ideas what to do.
I just didn't say give me ideas of what to do.
That's what you're implying.
No, I wasn't, because you started with the Chicago story, so I was curious. Here's what's pissing me off about Chicago. Brent, hear me out. The Cubs, who are home Friday, are playing at 1 o'clock or whatever. So I can't go.
They play like 80% of their games at 1 o'clock, John.
I've never been early in my life. I'm pissed.
Why is that?
They didn't have lights until 87. It's just part of the culture.
Okay. Remember Toys R Us, right?
Of course. Grew up there.
Jeffrey.
Love me some Toys R Us. I would always beg my mom, we got to go to Toys R Us.
Yeah, 100%.
Always got to go to Toys R Us. One of my most vivid memories when I was a kid was me, my mom, my dad, we went to some work dinner for them or something. And after, because I was, not being a good little boy at the dinner, they're like, if you're good, shocking, exactly. We'll go to Toys R Us and get you a toy. I remember I was good. So I went to Toys R Us after this thing at like 8 p.m. at night.
It was like the one time you were good.
100%. Yeah.
And does Aaron still do that? Like, hey, if you're good, we'll take you to Toys R Us.
She has said that, yes. So Toys R Us, right? They are coming back to 7 locations in the country. After Toys R Us went away,
they're done.
The Go Retail Group, which owns Toys R Us, among many other brands, recently announced that 7 new locations are coming soon. In addition to 5 locations currently opening in Michigan, Minnesota, Texas, and Illinois. There will be another location, 3 locations opening in California.
San Diego,
Emeryville, Long Beach, and in LA County.
Okay, so not forever away, but yeah, not San Diego County.
Toys R Us went bankrupt, or they filed for bankruptcy in 2017.
How do you go bankrupt selling toys? All kids need toys.
It's called Amazon, and there's so many other things that you can go buy toys from now.
No, you're right.
Yeah, my parents hated Toys R Us. They'd never take me there.
Why?
Because
because there's no point other than to go there and buy toys. You know, they'll go to like a back then it was like a Kmart or something like that, because they could buy other things than toys. They wouldn't make a special trip just to go to Toys R Us to buy toys. So like we would barely ever go there.
I liked it.
I like
All
the
kids
times I
liked
got
it.
to go.
Yeah, I do too. And that's all I got for today.
No.
What?
That was only 2.
I know. Sometimes you get 2, sometimes you get 3.
No, that's not. It's not a surprise. Brent, give me. There's got to be something else happening.
Well, I
didn't look.
I have one more story, but I can't find the exact. It won't show up on my computer.
It won't load.
It won't load. So we're saving it for tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I have something. Nope, I don't have anything. I was trying to think if I had anything, and I didn't have anything. I thought about it for a second. I'm thinking about what's going on and what I've read on the internet, what I've seen out there today.
Sometimes there's a lot. Sometimes there's not a lot happening.
There's always things happening.
Ooh. All right,
exactly. Thank you.
I got one more story for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's a good one.
Okay.
Let's pull this up here. Crackleberry.
What's Crackleberry do?
Crackleberry. Cracker Barrel. Man, 4-hour show.
They've had an interesting couple of
They
weeks.
have had an interesting couple of months,
Right.
yeah. Cracker Barrel is offering all-you-can-eat pancakes for $5 on September 26th.
Nice.
Cracker Barrel is flipping up a sweet deal in honor of National Pancake Day. On Friday, September 26th, guests can enjoy all-you-can-eat pancakes for just $5 at all participating Cracker Barrel Old Country Store locations across the U.S. It's just in time for National Pancake Day, John.
What's the first reply to that on Twitter? Like if from their official account, I would love to know.
It's on Instagram.
Okay,
so
it's on Instagram. I'm sure there's some.
they're not really good ones.
Okay. Good job at the back page.
Thanks.
And by good job, I mean it was fine. All right. We'll have a wrap-up show tonight. We'll see if the Padres can beat the Brewers down at Petco, remain alive for that 4 seed in the National League. And if you missed anything today, go to sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app or iTunes or TuneIn Radio or Spotify. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here. San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Bye.